Your microphone has changed. Still will not be used. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
And I can hear you, so I guess that's the way we're gonna go.
Can you hear her?
I can hear somebody. All right. I've gone through, I believe, if any of you would like to record, I believe you are quote unquote approved to do so. If you are trying and it's not working, let me know. I'm just double checking as I'm scrolling through the list. Sometimes, depending on your device, I don't have to actually click on anything. It does it on its own. You're good. You're good. All right. Yep. I'm still getting there. All right. Sharon, you should be good. Away. All right. So all of you at home, I do have the chat box open on the screen. So if you are muted and I don't have your video or whatever, by all means, you certainly can type in there. Depending on where I'm at, you know, if I'm helping somebody or what, obviously I won't be able to see that super clearly. I do have you up on the big screen here in the store, so I can glance up there too. But if you need to unmute and say, hey, just yell at me. Every once in a while I get pulled somewhere and then I don't see that. So we had a pretty large group sign up. I know that there are a few people who were planning to come here that changed their mind. So, which is of course fine. No worries at all. I am just going through. And I have at least one more. At least one more that said they were coming in store still. So that changed. Where is Cindy? All right, Cindy, I have clicked the record option if you want to do that. So we are going to,
Thank you.
of course. Thank you for that, Marcella. I don't know if I would have remembered that, so I do appreciate you. All right. I know that a lot of people have the crud, so that's definitely been a thing. And
Lisa,
yeah,
can I record? It tells me I have to get permission.
I thought I clicked that you could, but I will double check and see what I can do. It is telling me that I can only click to not allow. So you should be able to. And it's not popping up to ask me for permission, which usually if you try to record and so it should be allowing that. Not sure.
Yeah, I keep saying request host to start cloud recording. Well, I don't want to do the cloud, or do I?
No, you want to record on yours.
Yeah.
Oh, which bum.
Mine worked, Lisa.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Mine worked.
Okay. So let's see. What device are you on, Marcella?
My laptop.
So on the bottom of your screen, I have to hover over the bottom of the screen with my mouse to get the tools to pop up. Do you have a record option in there?
No, it says stop recording, so that must mean I'm recording.
So I think you're already recording.
Okay, it is now. It didn't before.
Okay, I think you're good then.
Good.
So let's fingers crossed and see. We do have more people that registered. That again doesn't always mean they show up for class. You just never know. All right, and I do have another person that had said they were coming in. She just signed up yesterday, so I'd be surprised if she changed her mind, but you just never know. So, first things first, do I have anyone out there that does not have a DX style machine? So you're working on a CM series scan and cut. Is there anyone out there that has that? Okay, fantastic. Because the rotary blade does not work on a CM series. So that would be a problem. So I'm glad to hear that you all have the right, at least, machine. So that's a great start to the evening. So question number 2. I know I have at least one person here who has never used the rotary blade. How many of you at home? Anybody? Never used it? A couple of you? Okay, no problem. That's not like it's a hard, different, or anything like that. It just checking in. That was not somebody for class, so I'm not sure why they're coming in the store. All right, did everybody get the files? All right, anybody in here at the store that does not have files? Okay, it's just so I thought I was going to have like 10 people in the store, and then I like dropped like flies all day today, so it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
What do I need besides cork?
So the felt is going to be the flower is what I had in the kit. If you don't have a piece of felt that is going to be large enough, first of all, we can shrink it and you can make just a little bit smaller flower, or you could try if you have a piece of fleece, maybe some flannel.
I have felt.
Oh, okay, great. Wonderful. So, as people kept signing up, which is great, love it. So happy to have you all here. The kits kept changing because we'd run out of one, then we'd pick up another cork and whatnot. So everybody doesn't have the same flavor cork, but that's okay. It's all going to work the same way. If you are here in store, I do have the rivet press that we can use. If you do not have a rivet press, which is what was provided in the kits, are the rivets. Anytime that you are in the area, bring it in and we can press it because it stays here. It doesn't go home with me or anything. So it's always here in the store. And 2, you could also use like cam snaps or something like that. And then what are the little things that are like on a one of those yellow envelopes that has little prongs that open up? Is that a brad? Something like that. So you poke it through and then you have 2
It's a brad
that split. A brad. That would also work. So if you are at home and you don't have any of those things, you could pick some of those up. Or if you are local at all, just pop in and we can take care of you sometime. So we'll get there. That is, I'm breaking up. Is anybody at home other than Miss Mary having problems understanding me? All right. So unfortunately, it's probably your connection if I'm breaking up and you're the only one. So I am not hearing anybody else tell me that they're having an issue. So maybe if you have a whole bunch of people that are on your internet, see if somebody can log off while we're here so that it's not dragging. Sometimes that's all it takes. Give that a go and see if that works. I apologize. I am actually recording. I do not normally record. I'm going to record and I'm going to try this out and see how it works. I'm going to upload it to YouTube and then I will send all of you the link. Nice. Just for kicks and giggles, we'll see if it works. And then I can delete it off my computer. The problem and the reason that I don't record is because I can't store every class we do. There's just no way. But if I upload it and then I can get rid of it, we'll see if that works. If it does, I will try to do that moving forward. I get asked all the times, don't you record the class? Nope, but sure don't. I'm going to try it tonight and we'll see what happens. I make no promises, but I will try. If that is the worst case scenario, hopefully, Miss Mary, that means that the recording would work for you and you would be able to make out all of that. So I have to No image and broken sound. So I definitely have my video on and I can see everybody else that has video on. I see that you are not muted and that it's a black screen. So try in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen if you can turn on sound. So there's an audio tab and there's a video tab. You need to make sure that those are both turned on. So give that a go and see if that helps. Otherwise, I am going to fall back on my blanket answer of I think it's your Wi-Fi, unfortunately. Seems out there's nobody else having that same problem. If it was a bulk problem, I would say it's me, but unfortunately it's not. So I think it's something happening at your house. Oh, and she's gone. Maybe she's going to try to log back in. Let's see. We'll see. Hopefully she'll come back. All right. Let's jump in so that we are not here all night. What do you say? Yeah, right. I don't want to be here all night. I'm sure you guys don't want to be here all night either. So we are basically the whole point of this class is to talk about the rotary blade. We will talk about buttons and how to load designs and all of those things as we go. I'll step by step you through all of that. And I apologize. I do have a tickle in my throat, so I will probably be taking a drink of things throughout the night. I apologize if I'm coughing in your ear, and it's not going to make the recording so fantastic to listen to either, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. So let's see. Where's Kathy? Let's see if she can do. All right, Kathy, you are able to record if you would like to. All right, so the rotary blade is probably one of my favorite blades we currently have. It can be used for a very wide range of things. It doesn't have to be used for just thick product. It could be other stuff. So I have used the rotary blade for, I don't know how many of you remember the My Happy Place block of the month. It was an embroidery block of the month quilt. Every applique on there, I cut with my rotary blade, and I had fusible applique on the back of my fabric. Worked phenomenally well. The only thing that I have ever tried to cut and not had that work well was a fabric with Easy T on the back. For whatever reason, that stuff just split into two pieces every time. Every time I tried it. Easy T. It is a stabilizer that was actually created to make t-shirt quilts. So you put it on the inside of your t-shirt, fuse it, and then you cut, and it keeps it from falling apart and becoming this crazy yucky edge thing. It can also be used on fabrics as a backing to help support stitches. So I was like, well, this should work, right? It did not. I don't know if it was something I did, and it was Easy T. It was not SF 101. So I know the fuse was good originally, but boy, did it just go, nope. And it split in two on me. So that is the only thing that I have ever had not play nice. Let's just use those words. All right. The other things that I have cut with the rotary blade, leather, cork, minky, flannels, fabric with backing on it. So lots and lots of different things. The felt that we are going to cut tonight, I have a lot of different samples of little felt flowers. You could make all kinds of things out of your felt flowers. I have a few other suggestions. We can talk about those if you guys would like towards the end of class. So that's not got anything to do with cutting. So what can I do with this kind of thing? We'll talk about that at the very end. So if you have time, or you can disappear if you don't want to have that conversation. What we are mainly working on tonight is cork. So we have this cute little basket. In the files that I sent you, you also received the actual PDF file. Because we have scan and cuts, we could scan this in and create a cut file. I saved you that step. I gave you the cut file. So this isn't about scanning and creating tonight. This is about cutting stuff. So that is an option, but we're not going to do that tonight. You already have the cut file. But I do want to give credit to the people who actually created this project. It is done by So Many Creations. You can check them out at somanycreations.com. This is one of the free things that they had on their site. If you want the cut file, You do have to buy it. But I did that part for you. Again, you guys can create it. So I don't feel like I'm giving away the farm on that one because you can create it on your own. I'm just saving us that step for class. But I'm going to hold that up right there. So many creations, and it is called the Biddy Basket. All right. So that should be on that video as well if you need to refer back to it later. They have a lot of cork purses and things. That's a lot of what their patterns are for purses and wallets and that kind of thing. This was just a little project that they had at Novi, which was absolutely darling. All right, Miss Mary, let's give it a go. See if you can come back in and hear me. Hopefully it'll work this time. Mary should be good. All right, fingers crossed. You heading out? Thank you, sir. Have a good one. I appreciate that. All right, we're locked in. So it's officially a lock-in. Haven't done a lock-in since 8th grade or some such nonsense. Okay. Hopefully this works. Fabric with backing. Was the backing on the bottom when you cut it? Great question. Yes, it was. So I fused it and I left everything pretty side up with the paper stuck on the mat. What does that mean? I did not use a super sticky mat. All right. So I did tape the edges of most of that. I'm really big on tape. I figure if I can keep something from not working, I'm going to do that. So it's kind of a preemptive strike on that. And hopefully, you know, we can keep that from happening. That is why I put the tape on your materials list, some sort of washi tape. All washi tapes are not created equal. There is the scan and cut washi tape, which is blue.
Do you still have that in stock, Lisa?
I do have that in stock. The packaging, it looks like this. This is how it comes. And this is what it looks like up close. It says scan and cut. Wow, that's blurry. Sorry. Scan and cut. And there is the brother signal or insignia as well. So scan and cut tape is a washi tape. So if you actually read the description, it says washi tape in the description. It is not like other washi tapes that I have picked up for scrapbooking or calendar decoration or whatever that kind of stuff is. Who is it? Lori Holt, I think, has a bunch of washi tapes that have like quilt squares and fun little things like that on there. Those will work usually about one time. Scan and cut tape I can use repeatedly, usually at least 4 or 5, sometimes 10 times, depends on what I'm putting it on. Obviously, if I put tape on paper, I may not be able to reuse that tape because it's going to stick to the paper and not come back off super easy. So sometimes it gets ruined based on what. But if I'm just putting it on felt or leather or something, I can peel that paper, peel the tape off and use it again on the next time I'm cutting.
What was the stabilizer you used for My Happy Place that went through well?
The question is, what was the stabilizer I used for My Happy Place? And I bet Marcella at home is probably wondering the same thing, and I didn't answer on her question. So I used the little applique backing that is called Fusible Applique made by Babylock. It's the one we generally carry here in stock. I have tried a bunch of different ones. That tends to be my favorite. I have used, what is that stuff? Steam-a-seam. All right. Steam-a-seam is definitely different than Fusible Applique. Fusible Applique, when you peel that paper off, you have a nice sticker. Steam-a-seam does not have that. They have another fusible, so it's two-sided, but it's not a sticker that then creates a permanent fuse if you hit it with an iron. So you can use it as a temporary adhesive and not have to iron it if you don't want to. So of course, when I'm embroidering it down, I don't need to iron it because I'm sticking it on there with my stitches. So it's a step that I don't have to use. Sometimes it's not difficult to iron inside your hoop. Sometimes that's a pain in the bum. So depending on how you're using it is going to depend on what I am using. I have used Steam-a-seam. I have used it when I'm doing like collage quilting. That is actually my next embroidery and sewing class. We'll be doing collage quilting. It's going to be the same project in both. One's going to be in the embroidery hoop. One is going to be sewing. They aren't done the same way. So even though the project will basically end up looking the same, how we get there is not exactly the same process, but we'll be using the same kits and the same pattern. So that is one of the things that I do use Steam-a-seam for. I don't prefer it in my embroidery specifically because I like the temporary. I want to just be able to put it in there and have it stay where I stick it using the sticker that's on the back. I also like that paper backing on my mats. I find that it works really well on the low tack. I can put it down, I can tape the edges, and then when I'm done, it does come back off there fairly easily. It's got a little bit of a waxy surface. I don't have to worry about it splitting my adhesive. So it is my preferred piece, and that is what I used. And again, I cut an entire embroidery quilt, and that was a lot of pieces. If any of you participated in that, that was a lot. I don't even know the number because it's too many to count. A whole lot of pieces that I cut.
It's huge. The quilt
It is
huge.
absolutely huge, and there was just stuff everywhere. So I mean, bolts, sewing machines. The sewing machine had a screen. It had another label or another outline for the screen. It had buttons. It had a needle plate. I mean, there was just so many pieces that to every block. So it definitely got a lot of use and in a lot of different shapes. So the rotary blade was not designed to do lots of little sharp corners and things like that. That's not what it was designed for, but it can still do a lot of those things. So that's a perfect lead in to the next things that I want to talk about. So again, we're still talking about the blade. There we go. So
Hey,
I did go through the actual rotary kit instruction manual. Anybody else read one of those? I don't normally read instruction manuals, but I do like to make sure when we're talking about a specific product, I'm not an idiot about it. So I wanted to make sure that if there was some secret something or other that I could tell you guys. The biggest thing is there is an activation card that comes with this kit. So no matter how you got it, whether it came with your machine, whether you bought it separately, there is an activation card. What that means are there's designs that were designed specifically to be used with the rotary blade. They tend to be a lot softer curves, bigger, bigger, more simple blocks, but that doesn't really mean anything. There's some really cute ones. Somewhere around here, I have a little stuffed elephant that I made out of, might have been fleece. I think we had some random fleece, and I think I made a little elephant out of fleece. And that was one of those built-in designs. To get those designs, you will want to go to the Canvas workspace, whether you use the web version or whether you use the download version. Doesn't matter on this particular one. You're going to go to Canvas workspace, go to pattern collection activation, and you have a little code. There was a card that was included in your box. It will ask you for that information, and then it will attach that to your Canvas workspace account. There is a way to download all of the designs in a zip file, put it on a USB stick, and then bring up all of them in the machine. But you can't put them in the machine's memory. I wish you could, but that is not currently an option. What that means is you have to have that USB plugged in whenever you want to pull them up. It's not like pulling up a built-in memory. It acts the same way, like what you're doing. You click a button and then it comes up with and you go through the designs and that kind of thing. But you have to have that USB plugged in. So I'm not sure that is the most ideal way. You probably don't want all of the designs. You're probably never going to use all of the designs. So just put the ones that you want on a USB and pull them up like you do off the USB, which we'll be doing in a few minutes. So all good. Question: what can I use instead of washi tape? And does Canvas Workspace work with Mac? So I don't believe the download version of Canvas Workspace runs on a Mac, but there is a website version that doesn't matter what yours is because it's on the internet. So just go to canvasworkspace.com and use that feature there and you'll be all set. It might have a Windows and Mac version. I'm not going to lie, I don't have a Mac, so I didn't really look. If you need me to help you with that, I certainly can look into that, but I don't know that one off the top of my head. And I would have to exit out of everything that I'm in here to pull it up to see. But when you go to canvasworkspace.com, before you log in, if you scroll down on your computer screen, that's where the desktop version is. And if there's only one download button, it doesn't. If it has a Windows and a Mac button, then it does. And that's the easiest answer to that without me physically going to look. Instead of washi tape, I don't know that I would use anything other than washi tape. Back when we first started doing this, we used painter's tape because it released easy. So it wasn't, leaving gunk behind in general. The problem with painter's tape is just like it does on your walls and your trim. You know how it curls on the ends? Same things happen on your mat. So if you put your mat through the machine and that tape curls up, it gets stuck to your scanner bar, and then it wraps around your scanner bar, and then you have to bring it to us to get that out, which is not a good plan. Ask me how I know this. I have had to clean them out of people's machines before. I have not done that personally, but I have cleaned it out of other people's. So I do not recommend painter's tape. There's that frog tape that might work. I don't know. You could try it and just do a little bit and, do a small scan and see what happens and see if it moves or rolls. I honestly don't know. I think that's green. Isn't it green frog tape, something or other? Not sure about that one. But washi tape is available everywhere. I mean, Walmart, Target, Amazon, probably even the grocery store. If you go down the craft aisle, in the little craft section, there's probably some sort of washi tape. The difference between the scan and cut washi tape and the other washi tapes is how many times you can use it. So it doesn't have enough tack to be taken off and put it back down unless it's the scan and cut tape, or at least that's what the ones that I have played with, that's what I have found. Hopefully that answered your question. That really stinks. I think that was the last of my water. All right, we're going to switch to Mountain Dew next. Lucky you guys. All right. So, once you have those designs there, you can go and get them as many times as you want in your Canvas workspace, which is why I personally only grab whatever I'm going to use, because I can go get whatever. I have so many USBs. I have no clue what's on any of them except for the one I'm actively using. So I have hundreds. I mean, they're just everywhere. I collect the decorative ones. The one we're using tonight is Stitch. So there's his head. Here's his butt. If they're cute, I want it and I will buy it even if I don't need a USB. So there's Stitch. Stitch is perfect for doing stitching, right? See, yeah, I had to buy him. I mean, how could you not? Okay, so what is on your USB is sometimes I have no idea which one I put it on, especially if you have 4 that look exactly the same. Like you bought 4 from us and they were all blue or whatever. You have no idea what you put on what one. So I don't know that I personally recommend dumping everything on a USB, but if you think you're going to go through and play with all of them, then go for it. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. As I mentioned, if it is on a USB, you can download that whole zip drive. You can, excuse me, I'm so sorry. You can actually go to your machine and pull those all up. And those would be Black Magic. Where are you at? Dun, da, da, da. Let's hit this one. That one didn't show anything. All right, so here's your home screen. You have arrows on the sides that will go through. We can have a roll feeder. There's embossing information, and then there's the My Collection. My Collection is where you would find access on your USB. So if I tap that, it's not going to come up with anything because I don't have that. Look at that. No, there's no data on my USB. If you had that zip drive on your USB of your, you want me to do it again? Okay. So from the home menu, we've got pattern and scan that pop up every time we turn on our machine. Everybody with me? Okay. You have arrows on each side, the little carrots. If you scroll to the left is where you actually can find it in one push instead of 2. You will see the My Collection button. This is where if you went on Canvas Workspace and downloaded the zip file, this is where you would find it on your USB. So if I hit this button, it's going to tell me I don't have one because I don't. But if I had a zip drive of, in this case, my rotary design collections, that would pop up here. I tap it and I see all, how many were on there, did I say? I don't remember, 50 some, whatever, however many, 63 rotary blade designs. All right, so all 63 would show up if I had that zip file there.
And you got that from when I bought the rotary?
When you buy the rotary blade, there is a little card inside, just like there's a card if you buy, she's got it right there. So that's what it looks like. It's got, doesn't it say Alex on the front?
Yeah, I have one of those, but I thought.
Is the letters on the front of it say Alex?
I did.
So there's, you get a whole alphabet, but it shows you the word Alex on the front of that card. So there's different ones and there's a code inside. So when you go to Canvas Workspace, you go to Pattern Collection Activation, you click on that, you type in the code and it says, hey, you now have the rotary blade designs. You can go there and you can click on the download button. There's a little arrow. It will download a zip file of all of them. You put that on your USB and this is where you find that in your machine. All right. I did it once and I was like, I thought it was going to put it in the memory of the machine so I could just zoop and put it in the machine. It doesn't do that. It stays on your USB, which means you have to remember which USB you have it on. Hence my problem. Maybe you don't have that problem. Bless your heart if you do or don't. Maybe you put all of your cards on one USB and you label it. That wouldn't be stupid. That would probably be kind of smart, but I'd still have to know where the heck that one is. And it'd probably be at home and I was working here or vice versa, because that's just the way I roll. So that is how you can find those designs on Canvas Workspace. And that is how you can put them in here, or you can just download the 1A or the 1 elephant or whatever file it is that you want to play with. Put that on your USB and load that regularly through Retrieve Data and USB. So if you just download one and put it on your USB, this is where you're going to pull that up from. It's only going through my collection if you have the entire collection in a zip file. Did I lose anybody?
I did all that, but it's been so long I didn't remember about it.
The designs?
Yeah.
They're all in your Canvas Workspace. So she said it was so long ago. I'm sure I did all that, but I haven't looked at them in a while. That's okay. They're all still there. If you put that code in, as long as you sign in every time you go to Canvas Workspace using that same login, you do not want multiple logins with Canvas Workspace. You want one, and you want everything that you load to go in that one Canvas Workspace. We've talked about that in Scan and Cut Basics classes. Don't forget and just open a new account. You want that specific one. Even if you like stick it, write it on your machine or something, you want that one login to use over and over and over again. All right. So once you have your content, you can do that and find it that way. Does anybody have any more questions on the free stuff that comes with the blade? Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the settings that you may want to adjust when you're using the rotary blade. I have never found the need to make this adjustment. So the moral to this story is don't overthink this, guys. All right. This is there. If you're having a problem, you can make some adjustments, but for the most part, it's going to probably work just fine the way that it is. If you are unfamiliar with the blades, you're really new to Scan and Cut, and maybe haven't gotten a chance to play with a lot of things. On the back of each of our blades, I'm trying to get the lighting right. There you go. See how the long open one is in the center on this one, and it's off to the side here. See how it's open at the bottom here, but it's open in the center here. The machine knows what blade you have on because of the grooves on the back of the blade. It knows what you're using. All right. So it knows if you have the rotary blade on, so it automatically uses the settings that are in the machine. All right. You don't have to go in and make changes just because you bought a new rotary blade. You don't have to go in there and add anything. It's already in there. And when you pop the rotary blade on, it knows you have the rotary blade and it uses those all on its own. You don't have to tell it to do anything. You don't have to activate anything, nothing else there. On the home screen, that's where we are right here. All right. If we are here, we have access to every setting that the machine has. So if we hit that wrench, the settings screens open and we have pages of settings. If once you select a design and it's on your screen, you're on the editing screen and you hit the wrench, you may have 2 pages hit the absolute most. Most of them only have 1 page of settings, and it is only settings that will work on the page that you're doing. So you can change your mat size. You could change from inches to millimeters or something like that. So in some screens, these 2 are the only things that you can play with. All right. So the home screen is the only place that you have access to everything. So if we start paging down, you've got your cut speeds, you've got cut pressures, all of the things that we will have access to in other pages, specifically on those pages. Here's my half cut. All right. Here's the one that you can play with. Cut mode rotary blade. You have fine and you have normal. Normal is the default. Do you see the black box around normal? I was in here playing earlier. I must have left it on fine. So normal is what I cut just about everything on. If I'm doing that applique and it's got a lot more points or curves or whatever ins and outs than just a simple thing that we're doing today. This is pretty simple, right? There's not a lot of movement. The most, I think the hardest thing are these tiny circles, right? There's not a whole lot going on that particular piece. There's a little bit more on some of our flower pieces, depending on how intricate of a cut we're making our petals. But for the most part, normal is going to work for most things. If you find that it's not, you can hit the pause button and change that and go back. So what is the difference between normal and fine? The fine is going to give you an improved quality of cutting. It will take longer. So it is slower. If you're on the fine setting, it doesn't move as fast. So it's fine of blade adjustments. Again, if you have tiny and a whole bunch of things, it's going to do that better because it's set on fine. It will get those small spots and more intricate cuts a little bit better. Again, remember at the beginning, I mentioned that the rotary blade wasn't designed for super intricate, right? We're not going to be cutting Mickey Mouse's tail and eyes and, all that crazy with this blade. It won't do it. All right. You'll end up with spots that aren't cut is really what that would end up to be. Normal is completed faster than the fine setting, and it's best suited for more simple patterns. So if you have something more intricate, then set it to fine. It's going to take slightly longer to cut, but we're talking a minute, maybe 2 minutes at the most difference, not relevant in the scheme of things. All right. So we're going to leave it on normal for right now and see how it goes. I used to joke around about it a lot more because we actually had to do a lot more settings on our CM series machines than we do on these machines. But this is not a cheat off your neighbor class. All right. Just because your neighbor needed to change something doesn't mean you need to. All of these machines have a personality of their own. All right. So the blades, sometimes how the blade is sitting in the housing is slightly different than your neighbor's. That's going to make a difference on how it cuts. Can you mess with it? Maybe. Is it going to matter in the big scheme? Nope. But my point is, this is not just because somebody else needed to change something or put more pressure on their blade. That doesn't mean you should. All right. So I realize none of you at home have a neighbor. So I'm so sorry. I'll be your neighbor. Won't you be my neighbor? We'll be, who was that again? I can't think of his name. Rogers. It was not coming. So this is the only thing that you're really going to play with if you need to. The other thing is the blade adjustment area. I have not messed with this at all. Your blade adjustment area, if you choose only the top section of the mat, it will, every time it needs to change direction, it will move and shift to the top of the mat and then change direction and come back to wherever you're cutting. That will take a longer time, right? If it has to come, if you're cutting here and it needs to change direction, it can't pivot like our sharp blades. It actually has to be lifted up, lift it, change the angle, and then sit back down. So it goes somewhere to make that adjustment. And if you have just this area at the top, it will only go up to the top. If you don't have that, if you have the entire mat option as your blade adjustment area, when it needs to make an adjustment, it might just move a little off to the side, make its adjustment, and then move back much faster. All right. But if you have, oh, I don't know, satin, organza, some fine, real delicate fabric down that you're cutting, what do you think is going to happen if the blade keeps touching down in random spots? Right? It might make little holes or runs in that fabric. So if that is the case, I would probably have it go up to the top. Otherwise, not happening. I'm going to have it stay right in the main area. All right. Does that make sense? Does anybody not understand what I just said? Mary, you doing okay? I saw her arm go up. It was the only reason that I asked. So I just wanted to make sure you were good. All right. The only other things that I want to talk about is
Lisa,
yes.
how do you change that adjustment?
That is a great question, and I've never done it. So hang on. So we're actually going to come out of here, and we want, in this case, the rotary blade adjustment, and you're going to include the material area or you're not. It doesn't have a picture of the mat. It's literally an on or an off feature. So include material area is including the mat. If you turned it off, it will only go to the top of the screen, top of the mat.
Okay.
Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. My bad. That's why there's so many pages. I forget how many pages there are. So you would, in this instance, want the rotary blade adjustment. So there was the other one that didn't say rotary blade. That was this one. So that one, we literally can change how much of the top of the mat we're doing. Again, why? This particular one is not super functional in my opinion, but this does make sense. All right. If you're using a real delicate fabric that you don't want it to basically test and change at because it could mar the fabric. All right. So that's where this would come in. If you don't want it to include the mat, you turn this off. Okay. So those are the only two things that I would really look at is fine versus normal. And where do you want it to test and change at using the mat or not using the mat? All right. Other than that, don't worry about the other settings any more than you would with any other blade. So you're still going to have pressure, push a little bit harder as it gets dull. Same stuff we always do on that. That is going to apply. All right. The only other things that I wanted to talk about before we actually start to cut are troubleshooting. So if it does not recognize your rotary blade when you go to put it in and it says the blade cannot be used, there's a couple other wordings of that, but that's the gist of it. If you have not updated your scan and cut since the rotary blade was released, it might not recognize your blade. So that is certainly a possibility. If we need to take care of that, we certainly can take care of that. I can walk you through doing an update, but it's been a hot second. So I'm going to just stab that all of you are good on that one. But if you see that the blade cannot be used and you have a DX machine, so it literally is an SDX, all right? If it has that on there and it does not recognize your rotary blade, all you need is to update your software. Okay, that's what's going to fix that. If you don't get a cleanly cut piece, most likely it's too small, so it wasn't able to, the cut is too small for the blade. It couldn't make those turns, or it was a tiny little movement of the blade was needed and it was too small. So you would just need to make that a little bit larger for that particular pattern to be used. There is no built-in that won't work for the rotary blade, unfortunately. So it is a trial and error on that. But if you get, you go to pull that off and the material is not cleanly cut, that is probably why is that the pattern was just too small, making it too intricate for this blade to function. if you have, let's say we're cruising around this, right? And we come and for whatever reason, this little section here wasn't cut cleanly. All right. The most common answer to that is you have a groove on your mat underneath that. And so it couldn't push cleanly because it was dipping. And so it couldn't have a good traction. And so it wasn't cutting cleanly because there was a groove built into the mat, either from a previous cut or something that if you cut the same thing and don't move anything on the mat, you're going to end up building a groove into that. So if you cut 10 times, 20 times right in the same spot, you're going to actually see that, and it will become deeper and deeper every time you do that because it's going in exactly the same spot. So if you're cutting the same thing over and over again, it is recommended to try to shift it. Even if it's only a millimeter this way or a millimeter that way, you don't want to create really cut grooves in there. So you either have a groove or your blade is too dull. Those are the two things that are going to be the reason that it does not cut all the way through somewhere. Those are the big things. It doesn't recognize your blade, or it didn't cut cleanly in only random spots. It's either going to be a dull blade, or the pattern itself was rubbing over a spot that was bad or was just too small in the first place. The only other thing, I think there's one more thing. The holder cannot be used would also be an update thing. So if you see just not the blade, but the holder, that is the same thing. So those are just the little points that I wanted to make sure, like most of us don't read the manuals. I just wanted to point out those few things. If you had any questions on how to adjust or when something went wrong, what do I do and how do I fix it? How we feeling? Okay. All right. We're going to click OK if you are following along in there, and we're going to come back to our main screen. Yes.
The different blades for their colors.
Yes. So the question was, can I review what the different blades are real quick? And of course I would be happy to. So everybody gets this little guy here. It is a black top blade. All right. The groove, you actually have two open grooves on the back of that one. The black is your auto standard blade. This is going to be your blanket use everything until you pull out a specialty blade for whatever it is. So this is going to be the first one that you'll grab unless you're doing a specialty cut and you're needing a special blade. So auto blade has two grooves on the back so that the machine knows what it is. It is black. Every machine comes with that one. Some machines only come with that one if you didn't buy it from me. It just depends. You just never know. All right. Other blades that come with, if you bought the 325, that was a fabric machine. None of you in here have that machine. So you would have either bought this separately or you don't have this one. This one is the fabric blade. Depending upon what you call it, it is either a tan or a gold top blade, light brown, pick your poison. They're all kind of the same thing, but this color, it matches the fabric mat. The little stripe on your fabric mat is the same color as this. All right. This is for fabric only. Your fabric mat is for fabric only. It is very sticky. You put a piece of paper on that, you are buying a new mat. It won't come back off. Half of it will stay on there and there's no way to clean that off. All right. Fabric only. So I just said if I put paper on that mat, it's not going to come back off. So can I put a fusible backed with paper backing applique piece on that mat? No, I cannot. I'm going to use a different mat. All right. I also am not going to use this blade. I'm going to use either my standard blade or my rotary blade. All right. This is for fabric only. That means it can be starched, to the end of time, like hard as a rock starch. It'll still work, but only starch or only starch alternative or whatnot, right? We're not putting any fusible on that mat. If you are extremely ornery and you're like, but I'm going to do that anyway. The only way that that will work is if you flip, not the blade, your fabric upside down. So you are putting pretty side down instead of pretty side up. And what do we have to do if we flip our paper? I'm sorry, flip your, yep, you have to flip your image. If you flip your fabric, you also have to flip your image. So we're going to mirror image if we are doing that. So if we have some fusible on the back and we're like, yeah, but it's sliding all over my other mat, I want to use this one because I don't want to listen and I'm going to do what I want to do. So, and that's okay. I'm just giving you a hard time. You can certainly do that. But if you are going to, you must put it fabric side down. Otherwise, it's not coming back off. All right. Which blade would you use? Depends on what kind of fusible you used, because different fusibles are different weights. If it was a lighter weight fusible, I might still use the fabric blade and see how it goes. But I might switch to my standard auto blade if that were the case, because it's going to be much thicker. Just for a visual, let's see what I have over here. These blades are very small. All right, so I'm going to, hopefully you guys can see this. This is the auto blade. You guys can see that, right? Okay, this is your standard blade. I lost it already. There we go. This is the fabric blade. Let me see if I can turn it to the side so it's the same angle. That's about the same angle as what the other one was at. It's like a quarter of the size, right? It's tiny. It is fine for a reason. It is intricate so that it's not fraying your fabric. So picture putting fabric on your rotary cutting mat, but taking a utility knife and dragging it down the side of your ruler instead of a rotary blade. What's going to happen? It's going to drag it. You're going to get wrinkles, and it might cut something, but it's going to shred the crap out of the edge of that fabric. It's not going to be a nice, clean cut. You use too heavy a blade on something, fabric blade. You use too heavy of a blade, it's going to shred the edges of your fabric regardless. But if you have a fusible on there, that's when that will start to work with the heavier blade. So again, brown, tan, gold, whatever you call this, this is for fabric only. It is really what it was designed for. And I wouldn't really try to veer off into other things.
Do you need to use that if you use the fabric mat? Or can you use a regular blade with your fabric?
The question was, can I use other blades on the fabric mat, or can I only use the fabric blade on the fabric mat? It is because I generally only put fabric on my fabric mat, I pretty much only personally use the fabric blade with my fabric mat. But if I am flipping that upside down and I'm doing that, there's no mechanical reason that you can't use another blade. It's simply what you're putting on the mat that really matters. So if I have a fusible on it, then sure, I could try that out and use a different blade, whether it's my rotary blade or whether it's my standard blade. If I have a fusible on there and I need a heavier blade, I could certainly do that. But if it's just fabric, you do not want to use anything other than, and I'm talking like cotton fabric, like standard sewing fabric, not fabric like this is technically some sort of a fabric, but so I'm specifically like quilting cottons and that type of fabric. Only the fabric blade is what I would use.
Will it hurt your mat if you use another one?
No, it will not hurt the mat. If you are cutting correctly with any of the blades, you are going to see a groove on the mat where you cut. The only time you will not see a blade marking is if you use the half cut feature with vinyl or with whatever else. But the half cut feature, the blade is not actually hitting the mat. That is the only time that you would not see a blade marking. So I always, oh my gosh, you cut my mat. No, well, no, it nicked the mat. Cut your mat would be cutting all the way through, which I have actually seen happen. I don't know how, but I have actually seen that. All right, I think there's. All right, so let me just make sure that I'm not missing any other questions in here. All right, I got that one. So Kathy asked, how did I get from one screen to this screen? So in the settings, I tapped here. I paged down with my arrow here. Here's my rotary blade. normal or fine, one more page down, and there's my rotary blade adjustment. And then to get out of there, I hit OK. And what mat do I use with the standard blade? I can use just about any mat with a standard blade. It's more important that what blade am I using with the product than which mat. So you technically can use any blade on any mat. It's more about what you're cutting than anything else. The reason that I say fabric only should be only on the fabric mat, and you should only use the fabric blade on the fabric mat, which you're only going to use for cutting fabric. Not redundant or anything, right?
No.
Is because the reason that it didn't work very well when we cut fabric on a CM series machine is because it didn't hold it down well enough. It didn't stick it down well enough so that it shifted as we were cutting it, and we got weird straight edges where we were supposed to have curves and vice versa and all that kind of stuff. All right. They created the fabric mat with this series of machines so that we have that extra amount of adhesive that is going to keep the fabric in place while it's cutting, which is what makes it work. So the combination of the extra adhesive and the lighter weight blade makes for a perfect marriage of getting the cut that you want. All right. Did that answer for you, Miss Kathy?
Yes, thank you.
You are most welcome. I'm sorry I missed it in first
For
place.
the person
Not a
who
problem.
reading how to get there, I was following along, and until I put the blade in, it didn't show me those options.
That's because of the machine that you have,
It's okay.
because I don't have a blade in on mine.
And it worked anyway.
It did. Yeah. So different machines do respond a little differently. There are sometimes different rules for different ones, but yes, thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate it. And Kathy, what model machine do you have?
It's the SDX 225F.
Okay, so you should be good with programming. So, all right, this is a light blue topped blade. This does not currently come with any machine. For a little while, it did come with the 230, but they even stopped that after a little while, and it got super confusing because I never knew what came with anybody's machine because they changed it. But this is the vinyl blade. This is this was designed for intricate cuts with heat transfer or sticker craft vinyl. So I mentioned we're not going to be cutting like Mickey Mouse's out with real skinny tails with our rotary blade. That's what this kind of thing would do. It is almost the same visually. You can see it's super, super tiny. That is so that it can turn and do a really tiny circle and not peel it off your sticker. So that you can do a really intricate point, like at the end of Mickey Mouse's tail, which is already super thin to begin with. That little point at the end of the tail, this blade was designed to do things like that. So it is light blue. It is available as a just the vinyl blade with a design card, which you get some pretty cool designs with. It is also available with a Disney card with designs that were designed for an intricate blade. So the non-Disney pack is, I believe, $59. The Disney pack is, I believe, $99 or somewhere in there. All of the prices just changed. So add like $5 and you're probably about right. I don't know exactly. I'm stabbing that in the dark, but that's the rough difference on that one. This one, if you don't cut vinyl, you don't need this. All right. I use this blade a lot because I cut a lot of vinyl, but to each their own. And that's the awesome thing. This is the blade that we are going to be using this evening. It has a turquoise top. It has a square top. So this is telling you right, this visual, this blade is different than every other blade that you have. All right. Very, very different. If I turn this little guy upside down, you notice what I have on the end? The white cap. This is the white cap that came on every blade. Okay. Every other blade came with a white cap. What do I not have on anything else? The white cap. The reason is those blades are all stored inside this little guy here. So I can't, unless I push down on this, I can't cut my finger on any of these other blades. Pardon my arm. This one is right out there. All right. So I don't put this in my storage with this blade open. It's kind of like putting your rotary blade back in, same concept. All right, but I can't retract this like I can my rotary blade that I use on my cutting mat. So I keep the white cap so that it stays on there. This is tiny. It can cut a pretty small circle, right? But it's pretty tiny. This is that difference when we were talking about the utility and a rotary blade. This is that difference. You're going to get a nice smooth cut because there's no drag on your fabric. It's just pressure pushing down. Yes, ma'am.
Vinyl blade.
With the vinyl blade, it does sometimes depend on how old my mat is, just like with anything else. I generally, it does depend also on what type of vinyl that I am cutting. So if I'm cutting heat transfer vinyl, that has a plastic carrier that comes with every piece that you get. So you have the plastic carrier and then you have your color on top of that. Everybody with me on that?
And that's when you use it.
I would use a half cut. Very good. I would use my vinyl blade and I would put the clear side on the mat. So I'm cutting it upside down. And the reason is I want to cut all of my heat transfer vinyl in mirror image so that when I flip it and I go to iron it on, it's going to look like I want it to look. So I put the clear transfer side of heat transfer down on the mat. I cut the colored portion in mirror image. And then when I weed that, you weed off the rest of the colored stuff that you don't want. You're left behind with just that plastic. That plastic comes off of just about, not the fabric mat, but either of your other mats, whether they're new, old, what it comes off very easily because it's just a piece of plastic. So it unsticks very nicely. So you can get away with just about any mat with a heat transfer vinyl. With craft vinyl, you generally don't reverse it. You generally leave it pretty side color up because it's a sticker you're going to pick up and stick down on something else. So we're not flipping it to adhere it. Occasionally we do, but most of the time we're not. All right. So that one, the paper part goes down on the mat. So the back is paper. The back other side of that paper part is waxy, which releases the sticker. And then you have your colored part sitting on top of that. If it was the waxy part, it would come off of just about any mat, kind of like the plastic. But because it's that paper backing, you don't want to put it on something super duper sticky. So I would either use a low tack mat or a well-used standard mat for craft sticker vinyl. Did that answer everything? Anybody else got a question about the different blades? All right. So I am going to take off this guy here and don't, if you get motion sickness, don't look at the screen for a second. Oh, come on, buddy, turn down. Back up some more. All right, so there's my blade housing. Sorta, right there. We're gonna take our blade and with the Brother logo out and the grooves in the back, we're gonna slide our rotary blade in, and then that little gray part there, we're going to push down until it locks into place. I don't know if I can zoom. There we go. All right, I'm going to do that again. We're going to take that. We're going to drop it all the way in until it sits nice and securely, and then we're going to push that gray part down. If the blade is not in all the way, guess what? You can't lock it into place. So don't worry too much about that. I'm going to get rid of these guys and put them away. All right, so your rotary blade is super fun to play with. I'm going to move this camera again, so if you need to look away for a second. See what happens when you push down on your camera, then it doesn't go back where you want it. Okay, there we go. All right, so this one is where my USB is at, right? We briefly talked about that earlier. When I grab that, I can go to my USB. These machines tend to read most USBs. I haven't run into too many. You know, sometimes on your embroidery machine, it gets ornery and it doesn't read one. That doesn't happen as much on this machine as it does on there. Every once in a while, but not very often. So there's, I'm sure surprises every one of you, a lot of stuff on my USB. You each got a folder that said rotary blade class, and in there you had a pick me folder. That's the one I'd like us to work with tonight. All right. There are many other ones to choose from. Some of them are much more intricate. So I chose a fairly simple one so that we're not here all night. All right. So in your pick me folder, if you put them all on here, or maybe you only put these on here, that's fine too. We have a couple still choices of rolled flowers, and we have a bitty basket cutting. I'm going to grab that bitty basket, and it's going to come up on screen. And it is a SVG file. SVG is a standard vector graphic. And basically what that means is it is a universal cut file. It is artwork that your machine can read. If you are buying something on the internet, you want an SVG. If we are creating something in Canvas Workspace or in our machine, it is an FCM. That is F as in Frank, C as in cat, M as in Mary. That is Brother's proprietary cut file. If you buy a Brother cut file, Disney, even not Disney, whatever, that's going to be an FCM format. How in the world do we remember FCM? Because what does that have to do with anything? It is a bleeping cutting machine file. There you go. Now you can always remember. Jean taught me that. I did not come up with that one on my own.
Yeah, could you repeat that?
Bleeping, because I can't say the word, cutting machine file. That is an F as in Frank, C as in cat, M as in Mary, or cutting machine, CM.
And the scan and cut will actually read the S.
Sure, it's a fun machine file.
Yeah. Fun
That's
cutting
not
machine.
as fun though. No, I'm just kidding. All right. The SVG is a standard vector file. So what the vector files are basically standard artwork that is out in the world. And that is all over the place. A lot of embroidery patterns now come with an SVG. If there's an applique in there, it comes with those things. There are some quilt patterns out there that come with them, but not many. Usually it has to have an electronic file in it before they're going to give you an electronic cutting file. But the wonderful thing is because you have a scan and cut, you can take a quilt file pattern and scan it in and actually create a cut file of whatever size and shape that you need from a quilt pattern. So again, we're not going to do that tonight. That is not tonight's focus at all. So we're doing okay at 6 o'clock and we're starting to cut. So that's pretty good. This is because I selected the bitty basket cut file. This is showing you, hey, is this the one that you meant to choose? All right. If I had FCM files here, I would be able to see what they look like. FCM will show you the graphic on screen. The convenient thing about that, but not for me worth it. I just try to label everything so that I can read the name of it. But I just thought I would point that out. A lot of people are like, why can't I see it? It's because it's an SVG instead of an FCM. All right. When we hit OK, we will go right to our cut screen. So this is a 12 by 12 mat. If you are working with a 12 by 24 mat, you can go in your settings. And remember what I said, you only get a few options. This is what I was talking about. There's not pages upon pages of settings here. It's only things that I can edit about what the page that I'm on that I have options to work with. So if I needed to change to a 12 by 24 mat, I have the ability to do that. I'm not going to do that, but that's where that would be. Somebody had a 24-inch mat out there. They came in, they bought a 12 by 12, but just in case, was that you? Okay. So the 12 by 12 mat is definitely my go-to because I don't have as much scanning and dragging to deal with. So unless I need that longer piece, I have used that for like ironing on sweatpants and I'm putting a name down the leg and I need a bigger piece. It's nice to have that bigger cut. It's all in one piece. I don't have to worry about lining it up. Sleeves, the same thing. You can do like a 20-inch cut on sleeves and then iron it all in one shot instead of multiples. So there's reasons to use a 24-inch mat, but if I don't actually need that space, I don't use one. So I do have one, but I don't use it very often. If you needed to change that, this is where that would be at. All right, so here's my design. Before we get started, when you tap that and I drag it, all of the little pieces move with it. Sometimes when we have a design, that doesn't happen. So occasionally, especially when you buy something, or even if you've created it in Canvas Workspace and sent it over, unless it has been a grouped file to basically make it one file, instead of this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little circles inside of our outside piece. So there's actually 9 different cut lines on this piece, but it moves as one because it was grouped prior to being saved and sent out. Yes, ma'am.
What's the square?
The square is created from the pattern piece that says this is a test 1 inch. So make sure that when you print it, it's 1 inch. This is a 1 inch square. So if I line that up over one of my matte squares, it should match, is the idea behind that. Usually that's a printing thing though, not this. Meaning if you printed it right, it'll come in here correctly. It's when it's coming off your printer, off your computer. Sometimes computers blow things up or shrink things or shrink to fit in your print setting. That would change something like that or whatnot, that kind of thing. So here's a learning moment for everyone. We're going to all hit edit. Okay. Does everybody have this file on screen? Is there anybody that needs help getting that there if they don't already? Okay. So I want you to tap that square. If you have problems collecting it, so you have this one selected and you can't quite tap on that, these select arrows will toggle between the different cut files that you have on screen. So sometimes it's behind something and we can't touch it. All right. So we can toggle behind and choose them that way as well. All right. So same problem we have an embroidery machine sometimes, right? Sometimes we just can't get to it. So if I want to get rid of that square, I don't need to cut it. I don't want to cut it. I want to trash that. Lo and behold, there's a trash can right on your edit screen. In case anybody's like, I have no idea how I got here. When you hit set on your screen, when you selected the file off the USB, this is the screen that it comes to. I can add to my page. I can go right back to my USB. I can bring in more files. I can go back to my mat if I didn't mean to hit that, or I can edit. We hit the edit button and that's how we got here. So in case anybody's like, I have no idea what we just did, that's what we just did. All right. You can tilt your screen up, my dear. Just grab it in the back and pull. You're so very welcome.
So do you want us to get rid of that 1 inch test?
Yep, we're going to get rid of it. So I want you to have your red box on that square. Again, if you can't tap it, use your select arrows to do so, and then hit the trash can. It's going to say, hey, did you mean to hit that? You go, yep, sure did. Okay, and it will disappear.
Yay.
The red square will automatically go around our little bitty basket file because it is now the only file on the screen. This is a little under 8 inches. If I move that all the way in the corner, it is a little bit under 8 inches. So you all have at least 8 inches of cork in front of you. I am now out of cork pieces that were cut. So I have an 8-inch piece of leather. So we're going to see what happens when we try to make a bitty basket out of leather, because that's all I have available to me without opening a whole nother package of something. These are scrap pieces left over. So I thought this little basket was absolutely darling when I saw that. So she had the pieces of cork actually all pre-cut, and all we had to do was put a rivet in it and it was done. But she did tell me that they were available on her website so that we could have a class, because I was like, how fun and what a great class, because it's a cute little project to learn how to use your rotary blade. So here we are. All right, I'm going to oh, why aren't you playing nice? Let's try this again. Well, aha! I have no idea why it worked, but we're going to roll with it. Okay, so here is the mat that I'm going to use. I am going to use a low tack. Mine is pretty new, which means it's fairly sticky still. If I had loved it a lot, maybe not so much. I could probably still use it and use tape to hold things down, but this is pretty, as you can hear by that coming off, it is still pretty tacky. All right. On my mat, I want to put the pretty side up. So your cork, depending on what one you have, nobody has this one. This is the one I bought from her. Some of you have this one. All right. I want to put the pretty side up, not the material fabric-y side. All right. So fabric-y side goes down, pretty side goes up. And it doesn't necessarily matter where on your mat that you put it, but do try to keep it straight so that you're not at an angle, because otherwise you're going to have to angle the cut file, and that's a pain in the rump, and who wants to do that? So somewhere on the mat, okay? And I am going to find where I put my tape. Yes.
Mine isn't, I obviously taped it, but it's still loose
That's okay.
because it's the rotary blade.
The rotary blade should be okay. Yes. So her question was, mine's still a little bit loose, even though I've taped it. So does that mean that you couldn't get it flat on your sticky? It's not very sticky. What's the reasoning you think it's not sticking down? The mat's just not tacky enough? Okay. So I do generally recommend there to be some tack on there for it to do a good job. If it's really not sticky and you've cleaned it, you cannot get any stick back on that mat, it may be time to replace it. Or again, there's not much drag on this, what we're doing here. So you can get away with a lot with the rotary blade. Okay. So I'm just going to do just the very edge of mine's leather. Yours is cork. So don't let me confuse you when I say leather. All right. I'm just going to do the very edge here and the same thing over here. Now I am in the middle of my sticky area and I'm still putting tape on that. Most tapes, if they're not washi tape, I'm not putting them on there, but the Brothers Scan and Cut tape does come off the adhesive. Now, all of that said, if I leave this on here with the tape for 2 months and I come back to it, the adhesive tends to get stronger the longer that it sits. So if I left tape on the adhesive for a really long time, it might be a little bit harder to come off. So I don't recommend prepping for a class that you're going to take in 4 months from now. No. Okay. So, it's probably okay. How sticky is the mat? It's not sticking down. It looks pretty. I think you're okay. You can pet it a little bit as you're cutting. All right. All right. So
you're not supposed to put tape up here, right?
You are not supposed to put tape up here. Great point. Thank you, Miss Kathy. This is where the blade will test. So the way that our auto blade works is it will come somewhere. So the housing sits here when it's parked, right? It will move somewhere along the top of the mat and the blade will go down and it gets its baseline. So where 0 is at, where there's no material. And then it goes to where you have your fabric, cork, felt, whatever it is, and it goes down again, and it sees the difference between baseline and your fabric height. And that's how it automatically sets the blade. What happens if we have tape up here? Baseline's not baseline, is it? All right. So if you have tape that doesn't go past the black line, so it's inside the mat, you're slightly down. So over here, I'm going to move screens again. If I'm not at the top, I can put tape up at the top because it's not off the top of the mat, because I could center it top and bottom, put tape in both spots. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is roughly 8 by about 10. All right. It's a little bit more. I think you guys have, I don't know, did we give you 12? I don't remember, 12 or 11, 10 or 11, 12, somewhere in there. I don't know. Mine's just a scrap, which is why I don't have one in front of me to tell me that. So over here, I am going to line up my mat with, I'm going to move the camera. Hang on. I have 2 of these right here. All right. There's one on each side, right? The little black guys here. And there's little notches that are plastic right there. So your mat sits in between there. There is maybe like a 1/16 of an inch, maybe an 1/8 at the most. I think more like a 1/16 wiggle right and left. So if I kick my mat out, am I going to get it back in exactly the right spot if I have to put it back in and cut again? No, because there's wiggle there. It is not 100% the same every time. So what does that mean? That means I should check my cut before I remove my mat. So if I have to cut again, it's going to be in the correct position. All right, so that's why I'm pointing this out. Back on your screen here, with your mat in the correct place, this one right here is going to load your mat. So hold it in, give it a little pressure at the bottom of the mat. I like to curve up the bottom. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing over here.
Now move your camera down.
Huh?
Can you move your camera down? We can't
I can
see
move the camera, you betcha. Hang on.
it.
It's moving.
Thank you. There, I can see your mat. Great.
All right. And at the back of the mat, I like to pick it up just a little bit, not a lot, and give it just a little bit of a push. So it's firmly up against those black little rollers that are up there. I just give it a little umph and then I push this button and it will load your mat.
Oh, I'm afraid to do
That's
this.
it. It's loaded. All right. So I was asked a question, do I need to tape at the bottom of the mat as well? The answer is, as long as it's fairly well sticky, you probably don't. And I'm going to show you what I mean by petting. So I pet while it cuts. I am constantly gently pressing my material onto the mat as it is cutting. The only time I don't do that is when I'm like worried it's not going to come back off already. So maybe I have paper and I'm really worried it's stuck too much or it's going to be stuck too much to come back up. I'm not going to keep petting and pushing it down into the adhesives more. I'm going to finger cross and just let it go. Right? Okay.
Lisa,
Yes.
my mat, it says that the mat could not be loaded or recognized. Let me try it again.
Please do check the back of the mat right up here on the bottom of that. Sometimes there's a groove. It's dirty. You can wipe that off a little bit. You can clean those little black rollers a little bit if you are having a lot of trouble. Or it could be that your mat is very, very well loved and those grooves are so deep that the mat cannot be read. But usually it's because it was crooked or something and it just didn't load quite right. Just try it a couple of times. Usually it will work itself out. If for whatever reason it's being ornery, set it aside, grab a different mat and plug away.
Is-
And sometimes tomorrow it will all work better. Yes, ma'am.
Is it gonna, the rotary blade isn't gonna cut those real tiny ones, are they?
It did on mine. So we're going to see. I was playing the buttons earlier because I was going through what I wanted to talk to you guys about. I don't remember if I did that on fine or if I previously cut on fine. But this one, I cut here. I didn't buy this. I cut this here and it cut those small circles with the rotary blade.
Really?
So we're going to see what happens with the normal setting. And if we need to recut again, we just hit fine and we go again.
With this, it's not, because of it being rolled.
Yeah, it's not laying super flat.
Right.
I
so
understand that.
if-
I had the same problem with this and it was not a problem.
Okay.
So like I said, we're going to pet it a little bit, give it a little bit of love while it's going through. All right. So we have our design and we have stuff on our mat. Do the design and the stuff on our mat match up? Maybe, maybe not. So let's learn how to check that. All right. We're going to hit OK in the bottom right-hand corner. Moving the camera.
This says that the mat cannot be recognized and it will unload.
Okay. Do you have another one?
Another mat?
Yep.
It's not a low tack mat.
Okay. Is it super, super new standard?
Well, the low tack's new too.
Low tack new is not super problematic. It's probably not problematic on either one. So go ahead and use your standard and see. I'm not really sure why it's not loading, but I unfortunately don't want to take the time at the moment to diagnose that.
Sure.
If your
Maybe
standard
it's not
mat also,
loading.
I'm sorry.
Maybe it's not loading because the mat wasn't inserted in the right direction.
Oh, did you have the arrow at the wrong side?
No, the arrow's at the top, but I'm wondering if the fabric has about a 1/16 of a line before the black line. So maybe I got the fabric
Nope, it
up.
needs to be below the black line.
Yeah, it is, but barely.
You can try moving it down again and see if it will load. If not, just switch mats for me. If
Yep.
neither mat will load, we need to have another conversation, but try those two things for me, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You are most welcome. All right, so on this screen, which is where we got rid of our little square box with the trash can, that's where we're at. If we were going to change the size of this, we would hit Object Edit. You do not have to do this. I'm just going to walk you through it real quickly so that you have it on video. So maybe the piece of vinyl or cork or whatever it is that you're cutting is just not quite wide enough, but you still want to make one of these. We could come in here and we could go to size and we could make it a smidgen narrow. All right. So if I hit minus, both change. That's what I would want. I want everything to change equally, right? So if I hit minus, that's just getting a smidgen smaller. So if I needed to make that just a smidgen smaller to fit my piece of fabric, have I ever done that? Absolutely. Yes, I have used scraps to the best possible usage, right? So if we need to make this fit our fabric, we can certainly do that. And this is where you would do that, all right? So to do that from where we were, we trashed here. We hit Object Edit. This is sizing. This is duplicate. This is rotate. Those are what you're going to use most of the time. All right. You're not going to use the rest of the settings very often. This one's mirror image. If you are a heat transfer vinyl cutter, you will use this one a lot. All right. It will become your friend, maybe your enemy if you forget to have it be your friend.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an important step. Super, super annoying when you finish cutting and you go, crap, I forgot to mirror image that.
Made an ironing board cover and forgot to flip it. I didn't realize it till I went to grab it out and third day
Yes.
upside down.
Not fun.
How do you get to that screen?
Absolutely. I'm going to do it a couple OKs back. So when we bring the design in, we are at Add Edit. I can go back and I can add more to my screen, or I can edit. So I want to edit. I tap the edit screen. This is where we discarded the 1-inch square. All right. So one edit in, we get the ability to move things around. We can zoom in on them. We don't need to do that today, or at least not yet. And we can throw things away. That's this screen. We can also group, but we're not doing that right now either. Object Edit is going to edit this particular object by size, how many do I want, and by rotate. Mirror image, if you're adding seam allowances, this is where you're going to do that. Those would be the only things that we would even begin to touch on a regular basis. There's other things on here, but again, this one here. So on here, you can add additional lines. So mostly if you're drawing, if you want it to go over something more than once, that's where that's going to come into play. Again, not going to use that very often, right? It is what it is. These ones that are grayed out, they are grouping mechanisms. So if we had used the 3 red boxes on the previous page to group something, we would tap this one and those items would become one group instead of multiple groups. So if our beautiful designer had not already grouped those for us, we would want to group them because, of course, when I move it, I want all of those pieces to stay right where they're supposed to stay. I don't want to have to figure it out. So if it hadn't been grouped, we could have done that and then hit this one here to group that. This one is welding and this one is alignment. We only have one thing on the screen, so we don't have access to any of those buttons. Looks like you have a question.
Where did your numbers come up? Which made it smaller or larger? When did you get that? Did you make it larger?
Yes. So the size with the arrow is under here. And then I can re-click that. I did make mine a smidgen small. I'm just going to leave it. I don't really care. But you can go back. If you want to just stretch something taller, the default on this is going to move all 4 sides equally. So if I don't do anything except make it bigger, all 4 sides are going to go bigger equally, so on and so forth. This, I can turn that off. It's called aspect ratio. I can turn that off by hitting this button, and then I can just make it taller or shorter or just wider or skinnier without going in the opposite direction as well. So why would I ever need to do that? Let's picture a name, and I can stretch it out to 12 inches, but it still is only 2.5 inches tall. And I want to put this on the back of somebody's shirt. 2.5 inches tall is going to look a little weenie, right? So we can stretch that taller, even though we can't go any wider. We can turn this off and make it taller. So we could make them 4-inch letters. Now, yes, it will stretch them out, but they won't be weenie anymore.
It takes care of width or height, whatever you want.
Width or height, but not both. If this is blue, if that's not blue, all 4 sides go equal. So if I hit this button, that one still changes, right? If I hit up here, they both change. So equal on all 4 sides. Okay, everybody at home good?
Lisa, can the fabric go over the black line on the bottom of the mat?
Yep, sure can.
Okay.
It's a great question. So her question was, can I have fabric hanging off the bottom of my mat, or does it need to see that black line as well? It does not. You can have fabric hanging off the bottom, no problem whatsoever. I have it hanging off mine. Great question. Okay, so I have it the size that I want. I hit okay. I'm back to my original editing page. One more okay. I come back to the the object edit page. One more okay, and I'm back to my add edit page. I don't remember where I was. At some point, somebody said, if you're okay, hit okay. Not actually wrong. If I'm good with my edit, I'm good on this page, I'm okay. I hit okay, I go to a different page. So it will keep going backwards as you hit the okay button.
You lined it up so that it's on the fabric.
I haven't lined it up yet. I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, all right.
Good question though. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to use this little square with the blue. Didn't mean to actually hit that. So sorry. All right. That little guy right there. It is centered underneath the edit button. When we tap that, we get this. And what it's going to tell us is it's going to scan the mat and show our product that we have on the mat as a background. Do you have tape or do you need tape?
It's not sticking.
So do you need tape?
I think so.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're fine. I just can see the piece popping off. So I
tried, and it just won't stick. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I used to try to use paper tape back in the day before they really had scan and cut tape. And it was okay, but it was too sticky. It stuck to the adhesives. So it unfortunately did not work phenomenally well, but it's an option if you must and you can't find anything else. All right, so put your material to scan on the mat and put it in the machine. When you're ready, hit the start button. You want to make sure that you have clearance behind the machine. So make sure that you don't lean back too far. Let her machine scan. The mat's going to come through on you, just FYI, okay? When we hit start, it starts to go through. You have a top of the line scanner inside of this machine. If you are close to a wall, sometimes I reach up and I hold my mat so that it doesn't run into the wall. I just let it curve up and then curve back in. You certainly can do that as well. What happens when you're done scanning is it will show you an image of where your product is on the mat. This is how we can ensure that our cut lines add up to our fabric, whatever fabric we're using. If you plug this in to the USB port, take your USB out since we don't need it at the very moment, plug this in, it will turn a fan on and it will blow right on you.
I just haven't procedure.
Well, if that helps, you're welcome to it.
Okay. Thank you.
I just see you practically dying over there, so I thought I would offer. You can plug that into the side of your machine and it will blow air at you. So there you go. Not at the moment.
Just had all the time.
Ah, so was Sarah, which is why it was here, but
Have you heard from her lately?
yeah. I spoke with Sarah on Wednesday and didn't speak with her, conversed digitally with her on Wednesday. That was yesterday morning. And before that, she was here probably
I talked to her, you let her on the phone with me, which was super nice.
Yeah, that was a different visit. She's actually been here. She stops in when she can, when she's in town. She won't be in town as much now because Dave's down there. So she was coming home to be with him. So
She liked her job.
I believe so. And it keeps getting better. So, you know, it's always hard at first to get an adjustment and change things. So I think every day it gets better. Not that it was bad, but gets better all the time.
Gets more comfortable.
Yep.
So for that covered entirely, can we just leave it in the machine, the mat? And
Leave
it
everything
here?
right where it is, no matter where this is at. Okay.
And just
So
leave it
does
there.
anybody have a really dark image on their screen? And you can't see your cut line anymore. So the cut line is in black. So you can very clearly, I think, see my cut line. But maybe your picture looks like this. And you have a really dark image on screen. If you've never been in one of my scan and cut classes or been in a lesson with me, it might look like this. If you have, we've probably already altered it. What we're seeing here is much more true in the color and what part of the mat is being taken up. In the wrench, you can change your background. This one is full color. This one is kind of partially transparent. All right, so when we hit that, it then fades out what we have on the mat. Are you okay over there?
It's not covered all the way.
That's okay. That is absolutely all right. So we're going to go and hit edit one more time. Okay. And we're going to hit the magnifying glass at the top of the screen. So if you haven't already, hit the word edit and then tap the magnifying glass at the top. This will zoom in on your mat and make it much easier to see where the cut line is and where the edge of your fabrics are. In the bottom left-hand corner, we can actually even zoom in more. Then it gets really tight, which is sometimes too much unless you have really small files on screen. So I'm going to minus that just a little bit so I can actually see a little better. This is touch screen, so I can move that with my finger. But I also have move arrows on the right-hand side. So if I want to come away from that top of the fabric just a smidgen, and then I can come to the right just a smidge so I'm not on the tape, I can see exactly where my cut file is at. And I can make sure that I am covered. Now I can only see the top half of this cut file. If I hit the arrow, it'll page down to the other half of the mat. Oh, I have to hold it. I'm sorry. It doesn't page down. It scrolls down. So I can see that I am clearly inside of my fabric. If you are not, if for whatever reason, whoever cut your kit did a crappy job and your piece is not 8 inches wide, I didn't cut them, so I can say that. I'm totally kidding. But if you have a piece that's just slightly smaller, you can go into that size feature that I showed you and you can make it just a smidgen smaller. Big picture is not, you're never even going to notice, but it'll make it fit on your piece of fabric. Are you okay?
If you're right on the line, you're okay.
Right on the line, you should be okay. Because it's not dragging, it shouldn't shift anything. But if you're very, very worried about it, we can, like I said, go into that sizing, bump a couple notches down. You won't see it really in the end of anything and it'll work just fine. And then it'll be a smidgen smaller. Yes, ma'am.
It's gonna make those little tiny
It'll make the tiny holes a smidgen smaller. But I don't believe that will be a problem from adding a snap or a rivet or whatever. It should be just fine. So,
Lisa,
okay.
can you tell me, because this again is not recognizing my mat, what is the mat for an SDX 225?
So in the bottom, hang on, I'm gonna bend my mat up here. In the bottom right-hand corner, you should see CADX mat. And it'll say low, or whoever named this one, I should shoot STD.
Yeah,
Right in that bottom right-hand corner.
that's exactly what it says, but it doesn't like what I do. It doesn't like my mat.
It doesn't like your mat, but it has that on there. Is your bar, have you used like a roll feeder or anything or been messing with the bar?
No, I've never used the machine.
Never, oh. Okay.
Does she have tape on her mat like I did?
Should I move the black things in?
No. This one will move. The one on the right will move, but you only move that if you're using a roll feeder, which is why I'm asking if you used a roll feeder, because it wouldn't recognize this mat if you had it set up for a roll feeder.
What about on the left end of the cutting machine? What is the button there, the slide that goes up and down?
The 1-2 slide on the side,
Yes.
that is your scanner bar. So as it's scanning, if the product that you have on the mat is thicker and it's hitting that bar, you would raise it up to level 2. That should not matter at all for loading in your mat.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know off the top of my head, Kathy, just like a quick fix. There is no sticker on the top. You're not using a scanning mat, are you?
Nope, says standard tech adhesive mat. I can,
And you don't have the plastic piece on it, do you?
oh no.
Just checking.
It's a brother mode, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I do have painter's tape on it, on the sides.
That should where the rollers are first catching it, it's going all the way to the top.
No, the painter's tape is below the black bar on the
Then
mat.
that shouldn't matter. It should grab hold of it.
I'll bring it in and we'll see what.
We'll check it out together. I'm gonna back this camera up just for a smidgen here. Right here on the right-hand side of the machine, there's a little gray lever.
Okay.
That lever is not flipped forward, is it?
My machine doesn't have a, oh, no, it is not.
Okay. And the black little roller is all the way to the right. There's a gray piece and then the black piece. There's no space here, correct?
Correct.
All right. I will keep thinking as we get cutting, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Well,
What's-
I'll keep trying.
I'm sorry. I hate it when I can't get somebody moving. Let me think about it. I'll go through the settings and see if I can think of anything that might, it's probably something really dumb.
Yeah, it's probably a simple fix. And
Yeah,
it's okay,
usually it
I don't
is,
wanna
but
have
I don't know it off the top of my head. Now you're cold? Sorry.
Yeah, it's just,
It just is.
I'll never get rid of them, they said.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. So does everybody who is able to cut have their piece inside their, nope, you're still working. Okay. We're going to take another minute.
Lisa, on the design, do you have to tell it okay before you tell it to scan?
What does your screen say, Miss Kathy?
Wonder if I can, let me see if I can open this up so you can actually see it. Get rid of
So
it.
for it to scan, to do this, to show you the image of your materials, you have to be on this screen and push this blue button. So to
Yeah.
get here, you would have to set it, the design to the screen. You're
Okay.
asking if you need to click OK. It depends on what else you have on screen. So there's an OK on just about every screen on here. So unfortunately, that doesn't narrow it down a whole lot. What else does your
That
screen say?
screen. On that
sorry?
screen, do you push OK before you scan?
No, you tap the blue button
Okay.
and then it would scan. You hit the start button, but it won't do that if your mat is not loaded.
Yeah, my mat's on. Well, let's see what happens now. Now it's loading. No. Show the mat. See, scan the mat and show as background. Put material to scan.
I didn't mean it like that. It just meant brand new machines should not have any problem loading a mat. There's no reason for it. I mean, it's not like they've used it. There's a groove on it. There's all of the reasons that mats don't load are non-existent if you've never used them. So that's what's stumping me. I'm sorry, Miss Kathy, what did you say?
It's actually user error, I really believe. Stop scanning, set the scanner level to position 2 when scanning thicker materials such as felt and foam. If the material
Okay.
curve
So on the left edge of the machine, flip that up to the uppermost level. It should not matter. Do you have the mat loaded now?
I got it loaded so far.
Okay, so if you have your material on the mat and you have the mat loaded, go ahead and push this blue button here and then push start. If you get the error message that pops up that tells you to go to 1 or 2, flip it whatever way the machine tells you. Now we are doing, I'm going to get up and walk too, so I might get a little quieter. We are doing thicker materials. So sometimes you need to be on level 2 for it to slide underneath your scanner bar. So when we work on heavier materials, we need to flip that up to number 2 for it to slide underneath.
Will it tell us?
It will. It'll stop and tell you if it doesn't like where you have it. What's going on, my dear?
Well, I had to move this whole thing over.
Okay.
And it was shy on that side, so I
Okay.
deleted it out because we couldn't figure out how to do it. So, it is nuts.
When we press cut, you gotta take that square out again.
Oh, you started all the way over. Yes. I'll be back in just 1 second. All right. If you have your scanner already done and you have aligned your cut and you are comfortable that it is inside your stuff, we can go ahead and hit OK in the bottom right-hand corner, and it will come up to this screen. I'll be there to help you in just a second, Miss Cheryl. We're going to hit please select, and we're going to hit cut.
How do we align that? How do we align the design? Just go back and touch it?
So you can touch, you did the scanning so you can see your fabric on screen?
Yes.
All right, so you can tap it with your finger and move it anywhere you want, or you can hit the edit button and zoom in with the magnifying glass on that page. All right, once we have all of this, if your mat is loaded, the green start button should be green. If it is not loaded, it will be grayed out and it will not let you hit start. If you need to make any changes, you could change those here on your wrench. These are all of your cut settings. All right. So remember I said it's only relevant to whatever page you're on? Well, we're on the cutting page. So we have all of our cutting settings. So here's my half cut information. And here is my standard cut information. This is a standard cut. I have my cut pressure at 1. The reason that I have my cut pressure at 1 is because I've been using this blade for a hot second. And so I need it to push a little bit harder. It's starting to get a little dull. All right. So as you've used your blade, instead of just swapping it with a new one, the first second that it didn't do what you wanted, we're going to just have it pushed a little bit harder by increasing the cut pressure. Boom. That's what I've done there. So instead of auto, I have bumped it to 1. If your blade is brand new, you do not need to do that. Please don't. It will work just fine on the auto setting. When you get a not great cut, that's when you would bump that up, hit cut again, let it go through, let it go through everything again, and then take it off the mat, and you can have that at the higher setting. All right, as long as we are all set, we are here, we can hit the start button. You can continue to pet your material. If you are worried that it is not sticking anywhere, you can play with that. All right.
What's the normal is, because mine is at 3 and I don't know why it's at 3.
So it doesn't know what blade you have on. It doesn't change cut pressure. No, that's your speed. You're good. The cut pressure is on auto. You're good.
Oh.
All right. How can I help?
I think I'm okay. I didn't end up doing it.
Right.
Scanned it.
That looks fantastic.
If I start,
So we're gonna hit OK. I'm sorry. Yeah, you have to hit please select. So hit OK. Please select. Hit cut. Now you get to your settings page, and the cut is telling you how long it's going to take. Your pressure is holy crap. How many times have you used this blade? So a lot. Okay, so 7 is extremely high. If I get past 3, I'd replace my blade. So that's my general. I bump it once to 1. I bump it again to 2. When I have to bump it again to 3 to get it to cut.
Yeah.
I replaced the blade. So what, do you know why you have it at 7? Was it this blade or was it a different blade? I would put it down to, let's say, even maybe 2
Okay,
or 3 or something like that in front, cross your fingers.
assuming that it was just the air that went up that high and then my blade is.
I don't know why it got that high.
We
That's
cut
the,
glitter fabric.
I'm sorry.
We cut glitter fabric. And then do a 15 use vinyl blade. I had my light blue blade in,
Okay,
so.
it could have needed, if you had the light blue right in it, could have needed a little more up, but 7 is super high.
Is
So
it?
that's
Okay.
just my concern is why it wasn't 7. But I would, if you haven't used this a whole lot, 1 or 2 is probably more than enough if you need it to bump it. How can I help? Have you used this before?
Never.
Then you're good at auto. The speed, I generally put it at 3, just because if you give something a little more time to make a curve, it's gonna make a cleaner curve. That's all I look at
I
it
saw
from that.
yours was.
Yep, so we hit okay. And then you can hit start. All right. So one of the questions was, what number for the speed, which is a great question. The default is 5. There's nothing wrong with 5. It can be 5, or they wouldn't have set it as the default, right? I slow it down to 3 because I feel like if I give the blade a little better, little more time to make a curve or make a cut, I figure it's going to do a better job than if it's speeding around a curve. So that's just my philosophy. There's no brother backed information, or that's just what I do. So my speed is pretty much always at 3 on all of my machines. So at home I have a couple, and here I have the one that we're working on right now. And that is, oh my, I have no idea what this sucker is doing.
Oh, don't say that.
No. So first of all, I resized it, which questionable. And this is a really shiny surface. Remember we talked about delicate fabrics? I can see everywhere it's testing, which I don't care. It's fine. But I'll show you guys what it looks like. So it's a good example of all of that.
You use leather, right?
I do. I have Kimberbell leather.
Well, this is cutting, and I love the cork.
I really liked the cork, and the cork is what it was designed to be made out of. The company's So Many Creations that I got this idea and pattern from is mostly all cork. They don't really, I mean, they put fabric and stuff with their corks, but they're mostly just cork. They have stunning cork, absolutely stunning cork. So this was intended to be a cork project. It was not intended to be a leather project. I just didn't have another scrap piece of cork without opening another package and cutting off another hank, which seemed kind of dumb when I had the scrap in the back room. So I'm just using this because that's what was here. But I will show you exactly what it looks like when your blade tests in the middle of your shiny fabric.
No. Well, apparently raising that lever up made all the difference.
Yes, that lever, it will tell you when it doesn't like what you've done, but you do have to listen to it. So if it's too high and you have a thinner product, you're not going to get a clean scan because the scanner bar is too high. It needs to be as close to your product as possible to give you a clean edge scan. So no shadowing, that kind of thing. But if it's too low and your item is hitting it, you're also not going to get a good scan. So all that does, it has nothing to do with cutting except for clearance as the mat is moving forward and backwards. The only thing it actually changes the mechanics of is your scanner bar. It literally takes the bar, and I know you guys at home can't see me, and I'll do it again a little bit. It literally takes your scanner bar and it moves it up or it moves it down. So you have a bar that goes from one side to the other, and as something moves underneath that scanner bar, it puts it up on the screen. So that's literally what it's doing, is it's taking that information. So the little circles worked just fine.
Wow.
What didn't maybe work just fine was the testing feature. All right, so I am going to, so before anybody pulls their mat out, don't hit your mat release. Do not hit this button, okay? So if I come out here,
What button?
the mat, load, unload, don't take your mat out. All right. So I have some tweezers. I can look and see, here's all my little tiny circles. Came out just fine. I use the little, yeah, I use this as my little trash. So I'll put my little pieces in there as I am cleaning up my mat and whatnot. So if I'm weeding or whatever, I put that in there and then I swoop that up and I throw that all away later on rather than moving all over the place. So
I can see where it did not, it cut one, but it didn't cut this one, say, and so should I just start it again?
Just hang on 2 seconds. Don't do anything yet. So I am checking to see, did it cut? I can pull out my big ovals. So I am good. I know that I have a clean cut through all of the holes. And if I pull this up from the bottom, I have small, I know you can't see, hang on. I have small little pieces where there is material, and you may have that because yours is material backed. Some of it is material backed. That's not a big deal. You can just snip that or even pull that and it will break depending upon what you have. Snipping is probably better than pulling because if it's a run, you don't want it to run and make a big mess, right? But you have these little pieces in here. Sometimes when your blade comes back, it's maybe not 100% centered where it should have been. And that's where you get spots that may not have cut clean. But I am happy with the cut that I had. So I am going to go ahead and remove my tape. And I'm going to remove my item from the mat. I know you guys at home can't, I can't come and look at your mats and check. If you have a question, let me know. I have somebody in store here that has a question on whether there's cut enough or not. So I'm going to pop over there. If you have a question at home, either type it in there or just turn on your mic and give me a shout. But here is my piece. So there's a couple of spots, like I said, that it just didn't quite, there's literally just the thinnest, I don't know if you guys can even see that, thin, tiny little piece of thread. I'm just going to snip it. And I am literally free now. All right. So before I come over there, Miss Kathy, look at my leather.
Ooh, looks good.
Yeah. Do you see the marks though? The scratches?
What is that from?
That's from my blade adjusting. So remember that blade adjustment area that we talked about on the mat or not on the mat? If I were to cut this fabric again, I would have it only test at the top of the mat so that it wasn't putting the blade on my material because it scratched my material everywhere it touched it.
Wow.
I know it's hard to see with the shiny, but I just wanted to point that out. For what I'm doing, it doesn't matter. So we talked about how the small little circles were cut and I made it a little bit smaller yet. Remember, I resized mine. Look at how the blade marked each one of those. Now it's going to work because I'm going to put fabric on top of it and I'm going to put a rivet and it's covering the whole thing. Nobody's going to see that. But if it was going to be seen, I don't know that I would like the way that that looked. So just some things to think about. Again, I have very different material than what you have. So it's not relevant for what you guys have when I'm talking about here, just throwing it out there. All right, so check your cuts. If something didn't cut just a little bit like mine, just take your scissors and snip that little piece of fabric or little piece of string or whatnot to remove it. If you have actual spots that did not cut through, just hit cut again and let it do it all over again. If you feel that you need to raise that up, Yep. So let's just exactly like you said, let it do it all over again. All right. It's there. I could probably pull them out, but I'm not going to. But you do have a few spots here that you can either snip, but you've got a pretty good cut.
Yeah, just good.
Yeah, just those few little spots. So this is what I was talking about. You can just snip that. I wouldn't recut. You go ahead and use the tweezers and pick at those circles. If they come out, you're good. Again, if it's not 12 million% clean, you can cover it up with a rivet, so don't stress too much. I think yours might have been because it wasn't,
Right.
it's a little poofy, so it's struggling with the height difference. Probably what that is.
When I did some build at home, I think I did it, it was good felt. It was for OESD. And,
Yeah.
I had to do it a few times.
It's not uncommon with thicker things to sometimes need to recut. It does not mean your machine is malfunctioning. It is literally the product that we're cutting, which is why I picked thicker items so that you guys could see that. It is part of the gig sometimes. And using the same cork. So you two have the same cork. Did yours get all the way through okay? Yeah?
Mine hit a little bit at the top.
Little bit at the top.
And it was because it was rolling, I think.
Because it was a different height. So
Yes.
right. So this type of product, you see how it's rolling naturally, right?
Yep.
Sometimes when we go and put that down, it's poofier somewhere than it is in other places. Even if we've taped the edges, we can't tape the whole thing. I mean, it doesn't work. Not to mention that we don't have anywhere to tape it to, right? All right. So sometimes those middle sections or the inner angles and that kind of thing, if they're not laying as flat because you either had a curve on your fabric or because it's just thicker, a little bit thicker in one spot than another, which sometimes can happen too. With the felt, you might have a little more fabric in one spot than another or a harder spot. Sometimes there's those little pieces of yuck in there that make it like literally heavier inside there. It is not an uncommon thing. All we have to do is, that didn't work. I'm going to come back to my screen so you guys can see that. Hang on. So I hit okay. And it comes back to this screen. I hit please select. I hit cut. If I got a yuck cut everywhere, like it barely cut through, I probably want to increase my pressure. Okay. If it's just in weird spots, like we had one lady here, it was just up at the very top of her mat. And that curl of didn't allow it to lay really flat. So we think that it's probably was lifted up off the mat so that the blade setting wasn't quite deep enough for that section. So that's probably what happened there. If that is the case, you don't need to change this. This worked. It's just spots. You need to pay attention to the spot and maybe pet it a little bit more as it's cutting that area so that it's staying as flat as possible if you know it's a trouble area in that cut. So you could cut it again and have it go over the whole thing, and hopefully it's going to recatch those spots enough that it's going to go all the way through. If you have not ejected your mat and you have not removed your item off the mat, it will cut in exactly the same place that it did the first time. If you have done either of those things, kicked out the mat or taken the product up off the mat, it will never cut in exactly the same place again, no matter what you do. So always check before you take either of those actions of removing the mat or removing the product from the mat. I am very likely to load my mat and leave it loaded, take my product off, put my next product on while the mat is still in the machine. I just don't take it out until I'm completely done. Sometimes I do. It just depends on how big of a piece of fabric I have. You know, do I need a full access table to get my fabric really straight? Am I just working a small piece? Then I can do that very easily right in front of me. If I've got a big piece, then I might need to get a little more creative, right? So were you able to cut the area okay? Just a clip?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. And were you able to pull all of the pieces out and get the circles? You're good up front, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh, how dare you?
I haven't been picking you up at 7.
I gotcha. All right, so we're all good here. All right, I'm gonna steal my tweezers back. How are you doing? Almost there. Okay. All right, so sometimes we pick a product that we maybe did, that wasn't the right product for that particular project, right? Sometimes we really want something to work. We can usually make it work. But what time is it? Oh, it's already 7. Oof. All right. I'm sorry. Let's hurry up, then move through to the next guy then. I apologize. If you need to bounce out, I totally understand. So if you got to go, then you got to go. That's all fine. I am going to switch to our felt so that we can pull that up. If you are already cut, and I can catch you up really easy, Miss Kathy, no problem. We're going to hit the home button and hit OK. It's going to automatically pop us back to the home screen. So the house and then OK, and we'll end up back here. Retrieve data from your USB. Find wherever you happen to hide your files at. Mine are in the rotary blade class. We want the pick me. I apologize. The adjustments on that cork took a little longer than I planned. So sorry. All right. Any of the rolled flowers, it doesn't really matter which one. Grab one of them. You can see what that looks like once you've tapped it. If you go, nope, that's not the one I want, you can hit the back arrow and grab another rolled flower until you find one that you do like. All right.
You said rolled flower?
The rolled flowers. Yes, ma'am.
They have numbers.
All right. Say again.
One of them's 56 and the other one has a 1. Which one do you
So
want?
there's all different numbers. I didn't give you everything I had in my computer, or you probably wouldn't have fit in a zip drive. I have a whole lot. I just picked out ones that I thought were good ones. You can pick whatever you would like. I don't really care. The idea is more of that we're going to test and how we're cutting felt and see how the rolled flowers work than worrying about that. So I'm going to go ahead and select this. You can pick whichever one floats your boat. You don't have a million to choose from in the pick me folder, but you do have a million to choose from in the whole folder. Please don't go through every one that I gave you.
Those
Just
are
look.
all-
They're all rolled flowers. You have a whole bunch of different ones. Just pick from the pick me folder so that you're not looking through so many, please, and make a selection. If you have to bounce out, I totally understand. I will take no offense if you're packing up. If you have a few more minutes, great. But if not, that's totally understandable. This is my cork, quote unquote, leather that I used. All right. So what you have on screen is there because we scanned it last time. I can get rid of that by hitting my wrench and turning that off. Now it's not there. I can also get rid of it by taking a new picture. Did you get through everything that time?
No, and I forgot, can I borrow your scissors? I didn't bring some.
What kind of big old patterns do you see?
Were you on the cut screen previous?
I had it up.
You hit home? Yep, you hit okay.
Just take you back home.
Lisa, can I use felt on a standard mat?
You can. I wouldn't get exuberant about pushing it into the standard mat, but you certainly can use that. So you guys have a larger piece of felt than I do. Again, I'm using scrap. So I believe yours will fit pretty much all the way across the mat. It's close to 12, if not 12 inches. So you should have from side to side. So you should not need to resize or anything to make it work with your felt. All right. I need to resize. So just to re-hit how to do that. I repeat, you do not need to do this step. I am just going to walk through how to resize. You certainly can if you would like to. I'm going to go to edit. I am going to go to object edit. The top left square here is my sizing. My piece is about 6, 7, 8, 9. I have about 9 inches in width, so I'm close, but I'm not quite there. So I need to make it smaller until it's a little less than the 9. That'll work. I'm going to hit OK. I don't care about the height. I'm good on height. I just needed to make sure it's going to fit on my piece of felt. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit OK. I'm still OK. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm back to my screen that I get to when I pull into the design. If I need to scan that in, I can. You're fine. Nope, you're good.
Okay.
Won't hurt. If you need to scan in, you could, but your piece is again a 12-inch piece. It should go all the way from one side to the other side of your mat, which means it doesn't matter where this is at for you. It's going to fit in your felt. All right. Your
How do we
excess
scan this
from
in
your
though?
piece-
So
what's
we
that?
can see the,
What's
how do
that?
we scan the design so we can, or how do we bring it up? I guess I gotta scan the fabric. I can't see the design because it's too dark. Still showing
So
my,
hit your wrench and turn your background off.
okay,
And then you should be able to see your design.
got it. Thank you.
I repeat that your piece of felt is going to go from the left edge of your mat all the way to the right edge of your mat. So it doesn't matter where the design is, it will fit on your piece of felt. Okay? Your excess should come off the bottom. You don't want any extra going up the top. You need it to be able to test very well. I need mine to go all the way to the left because of the size of my piece. So I need that all the way over there. All good. Yours, again, does not matter. All right. We're going to put our felt on there from left edge all the way to right edge with the excess hanging off the bottom of our mat. Once we have that on there, we don't need to scan it because it's filling the whole mat. We're going to hit OK. We're going to hit please select and cut. We're still using the same rotary blade that we used last time. Did it make a good cut? Do we need to give it a little extra pressure? We just used it. So if it cut cleanly the last time, sans maybe bumpy product that we didn't have down smooth, as long as it cut well last time, it should cut at the same settings. This one's only a 3-minute cut. We can hit start as soon as we're ready. If you are, if you need to, and it's not stuck real well, you can continue to pet and make sure that everything is in place. If you are using a super sticky mat, like brand new standard mat, don't press too much. It wanted me to raise my my scanner bar. So if you get the setting on, oh, so sorry. There we go. If you get that message, just bump it up to number 2 and hit start again. It will retest on your mat. I'm going to move it back again. You can see it's retesting. And it will go right back to where it left off. Again, if you need to, you can pet to make sure it stays nice and smooth. If you have a really sticky area, don't pet too much because you want it to come back off. After cutting both of these items, I would generally recommend that you do clean your mats. So when you go home, whatever you use to clean them, I do recommend that you clean to get the fuzzy from the felt out of your mat. Totally Awesome is the best stuff to use for that. That's what I highly recommend.
Something called Totally Awesome.
Totally Awesome. You do not need to dilute it. Use it right out of the spray bottle that you get it from the Dollar Tree and go. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sure you're gonna remember this. Do you remember when I talked to you, I asked you if, I have this one that was too, I think I cleaned it too much, because I cleaned it every time.
I do remember that conversation.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how, but I do.
Yeah.
So a lot of times if we see white holes, there's no sticky there.
Right, right.
So yes, you can over clean your mat.
So I don't do it every single time if my mat is pretty clean.
No, if it's pretty clean, let it go.
Yeah.
Okay. You can over clean your mat. What also you can do is leave the cleaner on the mat
Too much.
too long. Okay. It is a very strong cleaner. That's why it works, but you have to keep it moving. So spray and move it around the mat. Don't leave it in one spot. So you don't want it to eat the adhesives.
And I think
Okay.
I left it on.
And you
too
certainly
long.
can have that happen. I don't have a mat over here. Both of mine are pretty new. I have a few over there that have some missing adhesive spots. Not sure who did it. Wasn't me, but that's okay. Doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is your mat is not dead except in that spot. So maybe it's just in one little area. Don't worry about it. Let it go. Keep using your mat, use tape, that kind of thing. All right. So mine is all finished. It says okay on the screen. Before I remove it from the machine or from the my product from the mat, I need to check and make sure everything cut all the way through.
I'm going.
All right. again, if you have just a tiny little space, it is actually not uncommon to have small little tiny, like those threads that we had on the cork.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon because remember that blade is leaving and coming back at a different angle. And sometimes the space that it comes back in is just a smidgen different than where it was, and it misses a thread of whatever that is. Don't stress over it. Clip it. All right.
This, did I give you back your scissors? No.
Nope.
So I think that this is gonna be okay, because it's just,
I think it's fine because even if the edges aren't super crisp, but it's coming off just fine.
yeah,
So anywhere that you have a little
fuzzy.
fuzzy, you can either pull because it's felt and it'll probably come off, or use the scissors.
Yeah.
I don't think you need these.
No, is there only 1, 2, 3, 4 of the tiny ones?
There is a total of 6. There's one in the middle right here.
We just discard this. Is not good for anything, is it? The extra cork.
The extra cork isn't good for anything. Nothing that I can think of. I finally killed my piece and threw it out. It's really hard to throw that away, isn't it?
It's so hard.
It really is hard to throw away your scraps. I totally understand. All right, so mine cut all the way through. I'm gonna go ahead and eject my mat, and I'm gonna take all of my little scraps out of my what I use as my little trash bin over here on the right side of the machine. I generally don't leave a blade in my machine.
Really?
The reason being is the next time, if there's no blade there, I have to choose what blade to put in the machine. I can't accidentally just hit cut without paying attention because nothing will happen. So I don't have that accident of I didn't mean to do that kind of thing happening. So, all right. So this is a mat that would need cleaning. All right. So to do that, I would generally recommend a spritz in each corner. Move it around with your fingers if you don't have super sensitive fingers, or with the blade. Not the blade. What's it called? Scraper, but don't scrape. So that's the other thing that can remove is if you're scraping, you're actually like chipping away at something. If you just move it really gently over the top, you're not actually getting the corner of that scraper in any piece and chipping it off. That's how you can get that cleaner to start chipping away, is if you scrape or scrub too hard with a sharp edge. So just move it around and then take a paper towel and wipe everything down. I generally make a pile of all my yuck at the bottom of my mat. I scoop it up with my paper towel, and then I take the other side of my paper towel and wipe my mat dry so that I'm not leaving cleaner on the mat. That's all I do to clean. All right. So a couple different things. You should have a total of 6 tiny holes on your cork, and then 2 handles. All right. If you look on her website, you could actually do this with 2 pieces, line them together, do a top stitch to keep the 2 pieces together, and then you would have a lining as well. So you could do that. The cork, you don't really need it, but you certainly could. You could add fabric or something like that in there if you would like to. Your kits did come with a set of rivets. The rivets have a cap and a post. Put the post through the 3 holes, cap it, and then press it with the press. That is all there is to that. I'm happy to help all of you that are here if you would like. Again, you do not have to use the rivet press, only if you want to.
Which way do the flaps go?
Great question. Which way do the flaps go? So what you want to have, and I believe I've done both of mine the same. I don't think I messed one of those up. This is the inside, and these are going to go right over top. So the flaps come in. All right, and you're going to line up all 3 holes and put your post through there and the cap on the other side, and then set that on the press it, and that edge is done, and then repeat. So again, this is the center, the outsides come over it. Line all 3 holes up, put your post through, snap the cap on, go to your press and press it. Again, I'm happy to help anybody with that. I'm just trying to finish everything so that you guys can scooch if you need to scooch. So we have our piece of felt, and it was cut like this. You have the inside part that has the circle. You do not start there. That is the final part of your flower. We're going to start from the outside piece. And you're literally, it's called a rolled flower for a reason here, ladies. We're going to roll the felt. And we just continue to roll until we get to the center piece. All right. Oops, so sorry. Thank you. Videos are great when there's nothing on the screen, isn't it? So we keep going. You don't want this to be really loose. You want the base to be pretty solid. So you should see those rings there pretty well. I mean, it doesn't have to be squeezed crazy tight, but you don't want it really loose. Okay. Different flowers have different feels to them. That's why there's so many different ones. Some of them look more like a rose. Some of them look more like a, I don't know what, carnation, you know, all different types. And the more that are out, the more different tip there is, the more options that you have. So you have a pretty good selection. I'm coming up to the end of my roll. So what I have here is a centerpiece. Okay. What I would do is take probably hot glue, because that's my favorite, but you certainly don't have to use hot glue. This is not plugged in, just FYI. All right. I would put hot glue here, and then I would take this and press, and that would keep all of those little pieces together. On the other side, I have what I think this one looks pretty much rosy, but you know, hey, whatever floats. And if you don't like, you know, before you glue it, turn it over. If you don't like all of this is together, loosen that section up so that they, you know, the petals look a little bit different, depending on what one you have done. So here's another one that I think looks pretty much like a rose, pretty similar, right? So we would glue the bottoms of those together. You do not start. Yep. Let me see the other end. You don't have the circle done yet. Then you're good. All right. So no matter what size flower that you are doing, you're going to have that center. You're going to put your glue on there, and then you're going to take the circle part and press that there, and it's going to hold everything together. All righty. Now, I have all these really cool flowers. What the heck am I going to do with them? You could put them on headbands. You can put them on barrettes for little girls. You can change the size by raising and lowering the width of your spin. So as the circles are being taught, if you make that smaller, you end up with a smaller flower. So this one I made a little smaller. You can see it's smaller than that one. It's going to be smaller if you shrink the big circle. Now, here's a little secret that a lot of people don't know. In your machine, if you look and see if I can remember where, underneath the built-in patterns, and never can remember which one. I think we're going to go for this one here. Let's try that. That isn't it. Let's try that one. That isn't it.
What are you doing? I'm sorry, I missed.
You actually have built-in rolled flowers.
Oh,
Maybe it's in this. No.
I did one once.
Okay, this is it. I'm on the right track. So in here with the Eiffel Tower and the tree, we all have that menu. You're going to grab that. You're going to page all the way to the bottom, and you probably have a box. You may or may not, but it's that last one. There's actually 2 rolled flower files built right into your machine. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So you'll notice even those 2 are very different, the size of the petals. So you do have those options. I purchased one. I have a membership to Creative Fabrica, and I have a membership to something else. What's the other one I have? I'm sorry.
I must not have mine rolled tight.
That's probably what it is. So she said that her circle doesn't match the bottom. So regardless of whether it does or not, you don't necessarily have to re-roll the whole thing. Put glue on all of it. The bottom is probably not going to show when you are finished with it. So if your circle doesn't fill the whole space, put it in the middle as much as you can. But if you have extra, that's okay. Just make sure it's got a little bit of glue going in so that it doesn't unravel. All right. Some other things that you can do. So I actually got a lot of wood flowers for my daughter's wedding. And I did this at the end so that you guys could take off if you needed to take off. For those of you here, the front door is locked. If you are heading out the front door, please feel free to turn the lock and let yourself out. I will help you set them down as soon as I get free, but feel free to let yourself out to load a car or whatnot. So this was my original idea, but I wanted it to be more like this. So I wanted like a frame with an inset of a heart. That was my original, but I couldn't find that. We did a lot of decorating with the wood flowers. And that's kind of where a lot of this came from. If you have these all set, let's say I put this on a wall and I just cover the inside with different colors and different sizes and different types of flowers. I have more. Where's the rest? Let's see. And you can just have a really pretty, whatever colors your family room is in or whatever, right? You could fill that in. This one's kind of crazy. All right. That's more like what is that? A chrysanthemum?
Yeah.
Something like that, right? So you can fill these all in and glue them down there and then just have a bouquet that's up on the wall. You could hang that up. I liked the idea of the heart shape. So a shape of the heart with the flowers. These are a little big for this particular heart, but the idea is still there. But if they were smaller, you could make a little bit more of a shape.
Would you make them smaller, did you say?
Shrink the size before you cut. On your screen of your scan and cut, shrink that. So this is smaller than this, but it's very close to the same cut file. So the actual size of the flower turned out smaller than this one. This one is massive. All right. It's got, you can see what it looks like cut. This is what that looks like cut. All right. Took a little longer to cut that one. Right.
I have no idea.
You need some help. You got your posts in there already?
Yep. They're
All right.
there.
So
Never know. That looked like a chrysanthemum, the way that it cut.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I am not a flower guru. I don't know all the different ones. I know what I like. But that's about all I got.
Roses are forever.
Roses are red, but not all the time. So who the heck made that up? I have some really cool rainbow ones. Do you know how they make all of the colored flowers?
No. How do they do
They
it?
split the stem and they set them in color, like food coloring type, not food coloring, but that idea. Oh, for crying out loud. Come on.
If it's you know what?
No, it's not. It's just me.
Well, it's because we're rushing you.
I should have had this ready and I didn't.
You know, this flower that I cut would also make a really nice kind of like, I don't know, border or something that goes.
Absolutely. You can use this however you want. And that's the lovely part of all of it. All right. So you've got your pieces all in there. We're going to slide this out and I'm just going to kind of bend that till I get it into the post. And then this comes down and then we push this.
Okay.
And it pushes those two together and it creates the ribbon.
Okay.
Do you want to push the next one or you want me to do it?
If you're willing, I'm going to get out here and get your.
Sit down and play with it.
I think it'll be faster for everybody. Yeah. And plus, I'm going to on the screen.
So if I missed.
There you go. Thank you very much. Sorry, I got on.
You're fine. I'm sorry I ran over. There you go, my
Thank you
dear.
very much.
You're so welcome. You want to do or you want me to do?
Well, he's back. I'll watch you do one more and I'll try one.
So we're just going to take that post and we're going to put the circle inside there and then push down. Just be careful, get it lined up and then push. And it squeezes that all together underneath the clamp. You want to try? Okay. So you'll have to manipulate, push that out just a little bit. You want to get the center, the circle in the center of the bottom one, and then kind of slowly push that part way down until you center that. Don't pinch your fingers. Push the handle down and pick it up off the floor. You need to push that whole thing out.
No, I don't think I pushed it hard enough. It's not as tight as yours.
Oh, we can do a little bit more. No worries.
Yeah, I need to roll mine tighter, but I'm amazed at how these come out. You really went over a lot. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Didn't want to overdo, right?
Yeah,
Here you are, my dear.
thank you.
You're very welcome. What do you got, Miss Kathy?
I say you really went over quite a bit, and
I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. You never know with scan and cut class. I'm sure.
You went over a lot of material.
I did cover a lot.
That's really good, Lisa.
Yeah.
Have you done this?
I'm not, so I'll
Okay.
let you go ahead.
So we're gonna look for this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna push that actually,
More.
just make sure it stays in place. I want to make sure it's lined up. So you get that center in the back and then line up the front. Push down.
Made little Chinese boxes.
Kind of.
Lisa, do you need a special tool to, I mean, I can push the cover onto these little things.
So you can get them to snap together, but you need a rivet press to
Okay,
press the post into the other end.
great, okay. Thank you so much.
Again,
This has
if you
been
bring it
really
here,
good.
you're welcome to use mine.
Oh. Maybe next time I'm down there.
Absolutely.
One more.
Okay.
See, I did get it done.
Yay! I just
Yeah,
love this.
I love this stuff. That has turned out really good.
Had this work for.
Lisa?
We'll use it up. We used it up. Yeah.
Can you tell
Yes,
me
ma'am.
how to clean the rollers on here?
We can talk about that. You bet.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. I think you're good. Oops, that about there.
None but you cut your leather.
So this
Like for a roof
is my rivet press.
or something.
So you have a base that's a circle,
You know?
and you have a top that has that same circle there. And then you press them together and it presses the two, and it squishes the post inside the cap.
Okay.
And that's how it closes that down. So these are really cool. If you're into bag making, it's certainly something to think about. The set that I have came with a bunch of different tips, so I can do different types of things. So there's definitely lots of different options out there. The rivets themselves, I got mine on Amazon just because I don't have a chance to actually go shopping for things. But they come in different colors and different sizes and stuff there. So I just wanted to give you guys a couple of ideas for something like this. Obviously, if you made more, you could actually put, you could put flowers in here. You could make this a little bit bigger, though your flaps might not line up exactly how you want them to line up. So do be careful with too much resizing.
Lisa, how do we then get out? I've taken everything off of my mat. I'm all done. So where do I get?
So you can hit the home button if you're really worried about it, but if you just turn the machine off, it'll go back to the home button when it comes back on.
Oh, okay. So I don't need to save this, right? It's on a USB for me.
That is correct. You do not need to save anything.
Do I
So
need to?
this is the inside of my machine. The only other thing that I can do anything about is on the back of the machine. You can take off, there's a little pincher piece here, and you can pull that out and you can actually get to the cleaner to clean your scanner bar. So if you're getting lines in your scanner bar, you probably have a string or a piece of tape or something stuck in there. And you can just go back there, pop that off, and clean off the scanner bar. What you really would want to do to clean this, with that off, I can move this out of my way. There's no harm in that. Just like your embroidery arm, you can move the arm when there's no power to that motor. You do not want to move that if you are powered, because then you're going to screw stuff up and you'll hear clicking and it'll sound awful, and you don't want to do that. So please don't. But if you're cleaning this, I don't have, what do I have?
What do you clean it with?
I like to use like a Clorox wipe or a paper towel with Totally Awesome or something like that on it. I'm just going to grab a piece of felt. We're going to pretend what this is. So what we can do is get and work your piece under there. Now that's really tight, right? That doesn't work super well. But just like if we're going to move this for our roll feeder, that's the word. If you're going to move this over for your roll feeder, you release the tension on there, and then you can actually seesaw that in there with a cleaner on that. You're going to clean that black bar. So sometimes you get gummy stuff on it, you get little pieces of fabric on it, and sometimes that can make a difference on whether your mat is feeding in. You can also do that here. It's not as easy, but you can work that over here. The other thing that you can do is spin it and then just wipe it down. So if you can't get under this one, which is difficult, this is fairly thick. So if I had a thinner wipe or paper towel, so I might be able to get it in there. I have gotten something in there, though it's been a long time since, I don't remember what. But so you see this fuzz yuck. I don't know, maybe you can't see that, but there's some fuzzy stuff here. I can get some of it off with my finger, but it's still there. I can take my Clorox wipe and I can wipe that down, or my paper towel, and just spin it and keep wiping it down as I go and clean that off. This
So you clean it with a wipey or the awesome?
Clorox wipe, Totally Awesome on a paper towel. Either one's probably going to be just fine. This side you can release and very easily get underneath and floss it and get some underneath there and clean that up. Do not forget to re-engage this when you're done, or things are not going to work right. You'll be like, my machine's broke. No, we just didn't re-engage it. So that is how I would clean those little black rollers. And
Can I ask you, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking when you undid the
on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me unplug it so that I can actually set it down flat.
Do we need to do anything to take out the USB, or before we take out the USB?
Nope, just pull it.
Okay.
It is not like a computer in that aspect. Once you hit the word set, it is no longer using that USB. Has nothing to do with that. So I'm actually going to flip it again. So this is where it actually comes out the back. And this comes, you can actually pull this whole thing out. So this is what we're removing. There is a release piece here, and that is what allows that piece to come out, so that we can get in there and clean the scanner bar, which I keep spinning it, sorry. You can see right there. So this is your scanner bar. It looks just like the one on the top of your printer, but it's underneath, it's at the bottom of your machine. So your mat scrolls back and forth, and that's what sees either your design that you want to create a mat, oh my Lord, design that you want to create something out of. This is like glass, so use a glass cleaner so that you don't leave streaks, because you don't want to make it worse than it was when you started. You put Clorox or something in there, you could get streaks. I have used Totally Awesome. I don't believe that streaks, but it is basically a big piece of glass. So we're going to wipe that down. I have seen pieces of tape just sticking here. I have seen pieces of fabric, like just the edges that shred off sometimes. I've seen threads just in random places. If that's the case, grab your threads and pull them out, and then wipe it down, and then put it all back together. To put it back together, I do prefer to have it sitting on the top so that I can get this lined up a little bit easier, and it just snaps back in. Okay. That's all that you can do to clean this machine. There's no maintenance that you can do except keeping the rollers moving and keeping that scanner bar clean.
And how do you release that part, Lisa?
This one?
No, in front, yeah.
So there's a little clip right here. You push that and then you can pull that out.
Okay.
And that's how you get to the scanner. And then I like to put it back in here and it just pops right back in.
How about the front when you had it flipped over, you never, thing on that material underneath it, is there a bar?
So
This
this
here?
little gray button right here flicks forward, which releases that up. What that allows you to do is actually unlock it, slide it over to the other position, and
For some roller.
for the roll feeder. Yep. And there's actually instructions inside the machine that walk you through all of that if you're using it for the roll feeder, not to clean. Just remember after you've done all of that, flick that back and that re-engages there.
Okay.
That's about it, guys.
Thank you.
I am so
much.
sorry it's so late. I did not mean to go this late. I apologize.
You're fine. You self-
Thank you, Lisa.
You are so very welcome, guys. It was great to see you. I have the kits cut. I just need to do the sample for the embroidery and sewing class coming up. So you can look for that in your email very, very soon.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you much.
It'll be
Thank you, Lisa.
before. You're welcome. You're welcome. It'll be before Valentine's because I'm going to do a Valentine theme thing. So,
Oh, nice.
Okay.
all right. Let me, there's a button
Thank
here.
you, Lisa.
I'm going to switch my video so I at least can say goodbye to all of you in person, right? All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a great one. Thanks for joining and I appreciate you hanging.
It was a great class. Thank you.
I will get this uploaded. It is not going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take care of it tomorrow. You guys have a great one.
Too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.